And I think that we just like, as women especially, are so accustomed to like even small amounts of pain.
Oh, you know that I think that if any man lived inside my body for 2 hours, they'd be like, oh, fuck no.
Yes.
This is like, what you walk around like? Absolutely not.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, hi, everybody. It's Busy Phillips is doing her best. And I am joined by my faithful friends, Caissie St. Ange and Shantira Jackson, who maybe is still hyped up on some painkillers, but definitely has way less body than she did last time we spoke.
Oh, yeah. I'm not on painkillers because they make me crazy. So I have like switched to CBD after like 3 days. But I'm not high right now because CBD makes me sleepy. So now I'm just sober and not in pain.
I have so many questions.
We got some good texts from you, Shantira,
during
the painkiller hours.
Yeah, they make me bonkers. Like I've had, they've had me on hydrocodone, which like also makes you constipated. So I was like, I'm not trying to live that life. I'm trying to stay regular.
I feel like one of them makes me sick, like nauseous.
Well, some of them do. So before the surgery, they gave me a anti-nausea medication because some people, like when they wake up, they just hurl. But I'm not one of those people. But I hydrocodone, like I had it like 10 years ago. I had like a periodontal surgery, like a mouth surgery. And like I literally would wake up every 6 hours insane. I would just be like, I need oatmeal, please, God. And my mom would be like,
would you cry hysterically?
Cry hysterically.
Me too. That happened to me.
I just cried. So I cried and my mom would this is when I was living at home. And I literally every 6 hours when you're supposed to take it, I would wake up exactly every 6 hours crying my fucking eyes out and just be like, can I have Gatorade? God, why? And then my mom be like, girl, yes. So this time I was like, I think I know how my body responds to this medication. I'm pretty sure I'm going to wake up crying and I just want oatmeal and Gatorade. And my partner was like, okay. And sure enough, every 6 hours, I'd be like, could you put strawberries in the oatmeal, please? Oh, my God. And I just cried and cried and cried and cried. And then I did that for like 3 days. And then I was like, okay, I feel good enough that I don't have to take this
Like,
anymore.
we have to stop the madness. Like, you can't continue to just be teary about oatmeal.
Yeah,
Shantira, did I ever tell you about my son, also your son, Lincoln's eye surgery?
What happened?
In 2017, early 2017, Lincoln had to have eye surgery. And it was a hospital in New York City where they like pretty much kick you out while they're still like sewing whatever up. So, and like this kid is like 6'2", man-sized. He has this eye surgery. The doctor tells us like, don't be alarmed. When he gets up, he might have like bloody tears from the surgery.
What was the surgery? I need to know. What happened?
It was like to correct the muscle strength of his eyes because he's been like a lifelong glasses wearer. So they're like, there might be bloody tears. Don't be alarmed. And then like a minute later, the nurse is like, okay, he's awake. Get him out of here. And I'm like, no, he's fully unconscious. She's like, get him dressed, get him up. And so she put some sunglasses on him. I'm trying to like get him dressed. My husband says, I'm going to run down and get the car and pull it up so we don't have to get him far out of the hospital to like get him into the car. So I get my 6'2" son dressed, put into the wheelchair, push him out. He's wearing sunglasses, like, you know, a little cartoon mouse. And we get downstairs. I get him in the car. In the front seat, I get in the back seat. My husband's like, oh shit, we forgot all of his like bag of stuff. I have to go back up into the hospital. So I'm like, okay, we're sitting like double parked New York City. And so I'm just like looking at Lincoln to make sure he's okay because he's still like very out of it. And I look and sure enough, he has like bloody tears.
Oh
like,
my God.
coming down from the sunglasses. And so I'm like, buddy, are you okay? Does it hurt so bad? And he just looks at me and goes, I just miss Hillary Clinton.
What?
I was like, she's okay, bud. She's all right.
Okay, I had like everybody's seen that kid waking up from surgery like in the back seat of the car, right?
Yeah.
So one of my worst mom moments of all time was when Birdie was like 4.5 years old. may have been 5, guys. And I didn't realize that you take kids to the dentist. You guys, I don't know why no one ever fucking
we
told
grew up
me.
in a different age. I mean, like, I feel like my generation was the dentist generation.
No, Shantira, I went to the dentist very early
I know,
and I
but
had
like,
braces.
In your defense, they go from having no teeth to having some teeth, and like, you know.
Okay. Well, so she was definitely in preschool when she went to the dentist for the first time, because I remember, and also if you read my book, you know, I was very overwhelmed as a new mom, and I was and I was working on Cougar Town and whatever. Anyway, found this dentist, took her in. She's like 4.5, I think. And they're like, oh, she has 10 cavities. We're going to need to take care of this. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
That always happens. Those baby teeth, all they do is absorb sugar. So like,
They're just made of shock.
Charge it to the game. Charge it to the game.
Also, this is in my spiral of like, I'm the worst mom ever. I have been giving her gummy vitamins on the way to preschool.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to keep her healthy. And the gummy vitamins were just like stuck in all her little baby teeth and just rotted them. So anyway, they were like, so with a kid this age, we put them under. They have to have twilight sleep. We can't do the cavity stuff. And I was freaking the fuck out. Oh, I actually know exactly how old she was. She was 4.5 because I was pregnant with Cricket. And because I remember I had this like super horrible thought where I was like, what if my baby dies before I have this other child?
Right.
Like truly, you know, like my anxiety gets real dark, you know? And I just was like so terrified that Birdie was going to die being put under. No, I'm going to cry. But anyway, so leading up to it, I was like, she had seen the American Girl doll store at the Grove, and she'd been asking about it already, even though she was pretty young for American Girl dolls. Mm-hmm. But we were like, you're going to go get this thing, and they're going to like have you go to sleep, and then they're going to wake you up, and then mommy and daddy are there, you know, the whole time, and then we're going to take you and get you an American Girl doll at the Grove. And she was like, okay. So she was like real focused on that. So anyway, they put her under. I'm holding her. They put her under. It was like I talked to the anesthesiologist on the phone, no joke, 5 times before. Like we became friends. And because I was just so fucking panicked about it. And any parent who's listening anyone can relate. It's scary, whatever. So they come out and they're like, she's great after like an hour, 2 hours, whatever, however long it took to fill the cavities. And they had to, one tooth was so rotted, they had to just pull it and then put a spacer in. Guys, I really was like, I am the worst fucking mother. To this day, by the way, though, Birdie does not like to brush her teeth. So I don't know. I know it's gross. So anyway, they're like, she's getting up. Like, do you want to come get her? And I was like, okay. So we go in. And they had taken out her IV and her little finger monitor and all the stuff. And I scooped her up and I took her out to the waiting room. They're like, the anesthesiologist is like, we'd like to like just hang out for like 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And like, we just like to make sure everything's okay. You know, I'm like, okay, great. So she's this baby and she like looks at me and looks at Mark and just starts laughing hysterically. And she like comes to, she wakes up basically like in my arms and she's like laughing hysterically. And she's like, I think we should get the doll now. I can walk. Let me walk. And we're like, no, buddy, you can't walk. And she's like, oh, yes, I can. And was like just acting like a total, like your drunkest friend in college at a party. She's like, just let me walk, Dad. Let me walk. And like was like pushing him off. And then he would like let her go for 2 seconds and she would crumple like to the, you know, and I would catch her and then she would laugh hysterically and she'd be like, I got it. We have to go get a doll. We gotta go get the doll. And it was like, honestly, the anesthesiologist, the dentist, it was just all us. There was nobody else in there. Like that's how they schedule it at this place, you know? And everyone was laughing hysterically. And the anesthesiologist was like, top 10, like that's me in my top 10 wake ups of any kid. Because kids go like you cry hysterically. I cried hysterically.
Yeah.
I cry hysterically when I come out of anesthesia. Birdie apparently just is like hysterical. And like,
it's so interesting how people's bodies react. And like, I I think I'm sensitive just in general, but like my mom made me like straight up like a pack of oatmeal, like fucking Quaker apple cinnamon, and I was like, "Mommy, this is so nice. Thank you so much." And she was like, "Girl, okay." And I was like, "Can I have Gatorade, please?" Oh my god! And she was like, "Yeah, buddy." Like, I just am like so grateful. I'm like, I can't believe someone is putting a packet of oatmeal in a bowl for me.
It's so weird. We're so similar post-op. That is totally my reaction too. Cry.
I cry so hard.
I get very, very ill when I had.
Oh no.
When I had my older son, I had C-sections for both kids, but the anesthesiologist, you know, he stands up by your head, like doing things to your arm to make sure that you can't feel anything down in your guts. And I kept saying, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And he was like, yeah, don't worry. Everybody always feels like they're going to throw up, but nobody ever does. And then I barfed so hard all over his surgery shoes. And he was like, hey, congrats. You really did it.
Wait, but you hadn't eaten anything because you knew you were getting a C-section, right? So
yeah,
it was just gross
all like
bile and
it
gross.
was liquids. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But also when I got my tonsils out, I thought that I was just going to be able to take a cab home and like by myself. And I ended up writing down my boss's phone number. I work for Dave Letterman, and I wrote down my boss's phone number for the nurse so that she called him and was like, I think I have a girl here getting her tonsils out that wrote down this phone number. And he was like, oh, and she needs to get home. Yeah. So he sent a car for me. And so I went home, and then like an hour later, I think I tried to order nachos from Pizzeria Uno, like with like stitches all in my tonsils. I should not have been left alone.
I really appreciate, like, I think we've talked about this before, but like anytime I see a weird rule, I like don't make fun of it because it happened. The rule is weird because some fucking weirdo did it and they had to make a rule. So like when I was signing my paperwork, there was like a rule that was like, we will not put you in an Uber or a Lyft. Make sure that you know exactly who is picking you up. And I was like, this is a new rule. Somebody came in here and got a fucking rhinoplasty and tried to get in a Lyft. And I was like, I'm not even mad at it. But it was like, we will not put you in an Uber. Who is picking you up? Put their name and phone number here now.
Yeah, like,
and
we need to track this shit.
We were like,
wait, so Shantira, can we ask, like, have you gone to your post-op appointment? Yes, right?
I'm going to my post-op today. So after this, I'm going to my post-op. Straight up, this is the best thing I've ever done in my entire fucking life. My back pain is gone. My hip pain is gone. My knee pain is gone. Like,
what?
Straight
How
up.
small
like,
are your boobs going to be?
they're B cups. The dream.
Like me.
Yes, perfect little cups. They're so small. I think that I'm legit an inch taller. Like my neck and my clavicle and shoulders have dropped, and like I legit at least a half an inch. Whenever we get to see each other again, you guys, I legit am taller, and like I can't wait to work out. It's so funny because I've been working out pretty regularly like my whole life, but I just felt like no matter what I did, I was still like, my knee always hurt. It was like, do these stretches, do this work, do these lifts, and it'll strengthen it. And I was like, I think I'm strong as hell. Something's wrong. As soon as that weight was gone, like my whole body fucking shifted. Like everything is different. I feel so much better. I mean, my boobs hurt, but my back, my hip, and my knee, like I went down the stairs and I was like, oh, like I literally used to be able to feel going down the stairs. It's so wild. All your bodies all connected, you guys. I don't know what to tell
Everything
you. I feel
is
great.
connected.
I fucking feel so much better.
For people who are joining us, and this is your first episode of Busy Phillips is doing her best, then maybe you missed out on all the previous 19 episodes, in which a few of them we talked about, and especially last week, that Shantira just got a breast reduction surgery. And this was something that like you had thought about for many years, and now you've taken your health and yourself into consideration in this time.
Yeah.
And you really fucking followed through on it. And you look, I have to say,
my
you
chin
look
is
like,
different.
I swear to God, you
It's
look
different.
like a weight has been lifted.
Legit, my fucking
you really
chin looks different. It looks
Don't
like
you think,
I
Casey?
got-
Yeah,
It does.
you just look so happy.
I
You
feel
look
so much better.
different and happy.
Not that you were always
You're
happy,
always happy,
but you just
you're a sweet little sensitive bud. But
you look like you're just
Yeah.
a weight lifted. You literally
Yeah,
look
truly.
like a weight has been lifted off of you.
I genuinely,
so
my
fucking happy for
body
you.
feels so much better. And I think that we just like, as women especially, are so accustomed to like even small amounts of pain or like small amounts of discomfort we just charge it to the game. Like, this is how it is. This is what it is. Legit. I was
You know that I think that if any man lived inside my body for 2 hours, they'd be like, oh, fuck no.
Yes,
This
it's
is
like-
what you walk around like? Absolutely not.
And it's also like, I'm a person who also like, I went to a physical, like I did so much work before I did this surgery. I went and got an MRI. I went to a spine specialist. I went to an orthopedic surgeon. I got so much x-rays. I x-rayed my chest, like my heart, my lungs, everything. Because I was like, why does my body hurt? Like, is there like a reason? And literally, even after the MRI, the guy was like, it's nothing going on in there. And I was like, finally, the answer was my boobs were too big. Like that.
It's your boobs.
That is what it was. All that pain, all that fucking money trying to figure it out. And I think it's just if you're on a journey, like a pain journey or trying to figure it out, like maybe it's your boobs. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But for me, after like I legit went and got an MRI and went to a spine specialist. I waited 6 months to see a spine specialist. And he told me that there was physically like my spine was fine. And literally it was so much weight in the front of me. That is what had been bothering me.
Dude, and that is due diligence if I've ever heard it. Good
Yeah.
Lord. You
That's
tried you were like,
Everything.
I'm
I
going to
wanted
make
know.
this work.
I went to physical therapy for 10 weeks, you guys. Like, no joke. All that therapy, my knee still fucking hurt. Legit woke up on Thursday. My knee don't hurt anymore. It's crazy. So I feel so much better. I can't wait till 2021 to like actually work out and feel good in my body because it was really hard. Like last week I did go for a run and my boobs hurt. It was like, these are too big. I can't run in these. I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah. So happy for you.
We're so happy for you. I don't know. I love all of it. I love it. I love it for you. I love it for all of us listening.
And thanks
because
to everybody
it's
who's
inspiring.
been sending me messages. I've been high for like the last 4 days. So like around Christmas, I will respond to you guys because I really appreciate it. But I have been blasted. And as the group text knows, I cannot respond to y'all blasted because I might just say some crazy shit. And that's not, nobody wants that for Christmas. So thank you guys for all the wonderful messages. I'll get back to you, but I was very high the last 4 days.
You're a real Rush Limbaugh.
Truly, I was so high.
Oh my God. That might be fun though. One size fits all is not a phrase to describe your beauty routine. Is that a good?
That's a good one.
I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
But you guys know, we've been talking about function of beauty since the beginning of the pod. You know how much we love it. We use it in my house. We all need to have like personalized hair care, and function of beauty provides just that. You take a quick quiz. We love a quiz.
Love a quiz.
You tell them about your hair goals. You can even choose color and fragrance. Then Function of Beauty's team determines the right blend of ingredients and bottles your custom formula to order. And they deliver it to your door in a cute little customized bottle. They even print your name on it, which is great if you have other people that you live with, sisters, roommates, husbands, partners,
Cats.
wives, cats, and you can keep your stuff separate. They never use sulfates, parabens, or any other harmful ingredient. I have a kid that's allergic to sulfates, which is part of the reason why I love Function of Beauty. And they have over 50,000 real 5-star reviews and counting. We love Function of Beauty. We've been using it before they advertise on this podcast. and we will use it after.
They have, and they have skincare now, which is amazing.
Oh, amazing.
I got to get into that skincare.
So what are you at home waiting for? Go to functionofbeauty.com/best to take your quiz and save 20% on your first hair care order. Go to functionofbeauty.com/best to let them know you heard about it from our show and to get 20% off your hair care order. That's functionofbeauty.com/best. Listen, like I said, I've been working a lot and there's only so much takeout a person can deal with. We love it, but also sometimes you're like, I just want to cook something and just have it. And I need all the ingredients and it's a lot to get put together. So Green Chef is an incredible USDA certified organic meal kit company. And they have great, affordable, easy plans and it fits every lifestyle. Ketogenic, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, or just maybe you're looking to eat a little bit healthier, especially pre-holidays, post-holidays, just life. Just eat healthy, you feel better. There's a range of recipes to suit any diet or preference.
Green Chef is also the most sustainable meal kit. So
there you go.
They offset 100% of their direct carbon emissions and plastic packaging in every box. So you don't have to feel guilty about all the packaging that's coming with your meal kit.
Yeah, and I love that the ingredients are pre-measured and perfectly proportioned and mostly prepped. So you spend less time stressing and getting things dirty and more time just enjoying the delicious home-cooked meals.
And I make my son cook it for me, which is so nice because it's so great to just be like, hey, make those feta burgers for us. It's your turn to cook. And it's so easy. And he happily does it.
Oh my gosh, we had the feta burgers.
They're so
last week.
They really
a couple days ago.
They really hit the spot and made me very happy this week.
I know, me too. Delicious. So guys, please go to greenchef.com/best90 and use the code best90 to get $90 off, including free shipping. greenchef.com/best90 and use code best90 to get $90 off, including free shipping. Anyway, it's the number one meal kit for eating well, and it's the number one meal kit for me because it's the only one that I'm getting. I love it. I'm like, guys, I'm really like trying to do my best at like keeping it all together, but I don't know. I also think I do want to recognize the Great Conjunction and say
it was beautiful. Did you see any of it?
No. Are you kidding? I'm in fucking New York now. You can't see shit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know where the fuck people in New York charge their crystals. I'm so mad about it today. I'm so mad about it today. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm going to cry. I really miss my balcony. Where am I going to charge my fucking crystals? You can't see the moon.
It's too much light pollution. Yesterday we
It's
watched
too many fucking buildings. I'm surrounded by shit.
The Griffith Observatory.
Yes.
They did a live stream yesterday. So I think you can put them outside because the moon is there, even though you can't see it. Even though you can't see it, and then just go to a live stream of either like JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratories, or NASA, or the Griffith Observatory, and then you can see it, and then just put it in that direction. But the moon be out. We just can't see it because of everything that
the moon in New York City is like Anderson Cooper in New York City. You know he's there, even though you can't see him.
You just never see him.
You just have to trust
Is that a saying
there.
about Anderson Cooper?
It's a saying I just made up.
I love that. The opposite of Chloe Sevigny.
Oh, she be out.
I used to see her everywhere. Yeah.
Right. Everybody sees Chloe Sevigny everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sarah Beth's walked past her like 17 times since we've been here.
She's tall, right? She's a tall celeb. Most celebs are pretty itty bitty.
She's mid-size. I think she's my size.
I thought she was like 6 foot.
No. She's like my
I think
size.
she's regular.
Yeah, regular height.
You're above average height for
I'm
fame.
above average, but not super tall.
You're above average height for fame, Busy.
For fame?
Yeah, everybody who's famous is like 5 foot. They're all small. Everybody.
Teeny.
I was just talking about this with our friend Chelsea Devontes, who has an excellent celebrity book club podcast.
I
But
bought
we were
the Mariah Carey memoir. Just
so good
because
that's who we were talking about, because we were talking about the relative heights of celebrities, and she knows that I've at least stood next to like a billion celebrities. And I was saying that the one that always catches me off guard is Mariah Carey, because in my mind, she's very small. She's very like petite, short lady, but
Me too.
she's not. She's like 5'8" minimum.
Oh.
Yeah. And she wears like
Heels.
amazing big heels. And so I've seen her 1,000 times. I've stood next to her 1,000 times. And every time it surprises me anew that Mariah Carey is like a
she would be
statuesque lady.
small. Because
I
Beyonce's
know.
like 5'4" or something. They're all
Yeah.
itty bitty.
Whitney
Oh my
Houston was like 5'5" or 5'6", and I think of her as very tall.
Yeah.
because
You
she
guys-
was like a model, but no. But Mariah's tall.
Dang,
Did you guys
that's so
see
tall.
that person, the guy, the sound engineer that did the All I Want for Christmas Is You, but then he like spliced in
Yes.
Whitney Houston's
Yeah.
You from The Bodyguard.
It was
I will
amazing.
always love you.
I will
And
always
it's
love you.
amazing, and then you start crying, and then you're
Yeah,
like, "What the
I
fuck
cried.
is happening to my life?" Yeah, me
It's
too.
amazing.
Wasn't that good?
I was like, but
Um,
also I was not expecting it. I like it. Literally was a thing where I was like, okay, yeah. I wonder how he mixed. How did he mix it? Again, I was probably high
were
on
high.
opioids, so it did not help.
I was not, and I cried.
Everything
Well-
hits harder on an opioid.
Listen, I feel like Shantira, you got knocked out for most of it, but like since we talked last week, I don't know about the rest of all of the people listening. Caissie, you and I haven't even really discussed, but I know for me that this past week has been, without a doubt, the longest week in the longest year on record. This past week was like every day was a millennium.
Yeah.
It's so
And
long. Yeah.
it dragged the fuck on, and every day personally contained some fresh hell that I was like not expecting.
Absolutely.
And everyone that I was talking to, like at work, we finished out work, we finished out shooting, and it was real hard. It was like I forgot, and I don't know. And then I was like trying to ask Mark if he remembered if during Cougar Town if I was this exhausted and tired, and he was like, I don't think you were, but then again, like I also don't think I was paying that much attention. Which
That's
is
fair. But
Right.
this is a year unlike any other year.
It is,
Yeah.
but like just like doing the work and then the COVID stuff on top of it, and then just the emotional exhaustion. Oh, my house is empty.
Oh, good.
Empty.
That's good.
And my house in Los Angeles is gone from.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's their house.
Minus the things that
Yeah.
are now theirs that were mine that they
Yeah.
wanted
Photo booth.
to keep. They kept the photo booth, and they kept some of my credenzas, and they
Did they keep that wallpaper in that bathroom?
Yes.
That wallpaper is
And-
cute as hell.
And they asked for the piece of art that matched the wallpaper that the artist Jeff McFetridge gave us.
Oh,
Who's my
I like
friend.
that. I like that because it means they're going to keep
Gonna
the
keep
wallpaper.
it.
Yeah.
And then they asked for the hand towels that were cross-stitched that matched, which
That
my
seems
mom
intense.
made
That
for
seems
me.
intense.
Aw.
So I gave them one.
Yeah, I would have given. I mean, you're better than me. I would have been like, you can have everything else, but my mama made this. But I'm glad you gave them one. But I mean, like, not that anybody's seen your bathroom, but I remember going in there and being like, "Oh, this is cute." And then
I think people have. I think I've Instagrammed it.
It's just like
a hella
It's been
cute-
seen.
it's a hella
The,
cute bathroom.
Yeah.
My son house sat for Busy recently over the holiday, and he was very excited to take selfies in that bathroom.
Because I never would like, even whenever we have left, always like for going on location, going to Charleston in the summers, like whenever we've left the house, I never leave our house empty or like with just like a person checking in on it because of the bling ring. because I just assume that any of us are seconds away from being bling ringed.
Yeah.
And I do post, regardless of like how safe it is or whatever, I do tend to post my location, like people know where I'm at. Or previously, people have known where I have been. And so I never wanted our house to be empty. So like somebody is always staying there. And Ray needed to go see his family. And so our son Lincoln was excited, I'm sure, to just have a pad, a giant crash pad.
Well, I also love Lincoln getting it because like Lincoln's not throwing a party. He's like,
no, I trust him implicitly.
Lincoln is like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna read my favorite book in this basement. Like those are the plans that he, or like I feel like his plans would be like, I'm gonna make nachos and eat them on this balcony, and then he like made his plans, and they were so cute. I love him.
He's been like he has been really lucky because he went from like celebrity dog sitting to like getting to house sit for Busy. And so every time I'd be like, what'd you get up to today? And he'd be like, I got a burrito delivered and then
I did my laundry. What?
I
used their laundry machine.
I'll never forget, like one time I was out of town, back when we still lived in Connecticut, I was out of town and I got home like a day early and I was walking home from the train station and I was talking to my husband who was out at work saying like, oh, I'm going to surprise the kids. And he was like, you're going to surprise 2 teenage boys, like, a day early. That's not a great idea. And, but Busy's eating soup.
Sorry.
We can hear the scrapes.
We can just hear the scraping and the dinging.
Scraping of the soup.
They can just cut that out because my audio is separate, So the audience never needed to know about the soup.
I mean, we'll see. Sometimes it's hard.
Honestly, Busy, you're just giving it away. People would pay
this
good
is a
money.
thing that you could charge
People would pay really good money for a cool hot lady to slurp soup.
Anyway, less interesting than the soup is that I came walking up my street and was expecting to find my 2 teen sons like having a rager, and they were both like in the picture window watching like Scooby-Doo folding their laundry.
I mean,
and I was like, you guys are getting wild.
You raised some good kids. Is what you did.
I hope so. They're very respectful. It's not like they never have fun, but they just,
Well, I feel like right before this, like I ordered 2 Lego sets that I'm gonna put together. Like today,
nice.
It was like the first day I wasn't fucking bonkers on drugs, and I was like, I'm gonna put together my Lego calendar. So like that's my fun plans for the day, and I'm just like a full grown up.
I mean, listen, we're all doing all the things that we can do to keep occupied in this moment. Mark and I got into like a little bit of whatever. It wasn't a fight, but like the girls have just been like wanting to open Christmas presents, and I'm just like, fine. Yeah. I like actually just, there's no reason to wait. Just fucking open them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like Mark's like, well, then what are we doing? I was like, dude, what have we ever been doing? Like, what
open
is
one
this?
a day. Open one a day.
Well, we've been limiting it. Yes, Shantira,
one a day.
We've been limiting it to 1 a day.
I feel like Mark is like truly like a dad. Like, I don't know how to describe like a dad, because like my dad would be like, no. And I'd be like, please? And he'd be like, it's not Christmas. So like I fully understand just being like, I don't give a fuck, because that would be me. But when I think about like my dad and being like, I went and bought this, the expectation is for you to open it on the 25th, and it's like, but can I, it's fake, can I have it now? And he'll be like, no, I like some structure.
In 2020 like these kids, when you think about like what we've all gone through and how hard it's been for us, and then you think about like the other night, Cricket was just crying in her bed before bed. Aww. And I was like, oh, honey, you're so tired. And she's like, that's not it, mama. And I was like, baby, what is it? Like, you can tell me, you can tell me anything. And she just was like, I can't. It's just too much because it's everything. And I was like, oh, fuck, man. I said, Cricket, I don't know how to even explain this to you. You'll understand when you're older. But like what we're going through right now, no one alive has ever really gone through anything like this.
Yeah.
Certainly no one that I know. Like, and
there's like 200-year-old people who've done it, and they were like 2 when it happened.
well,
Like,
I mean,
that's it.
Emilie's grandparents survived the Holocaust, so fair enough. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Like they
I was
escaped,
talking about
but
the
they're both
Spanish flu.
passed.
I was talking about the Spanish flu.
Right. Oh,
Like-
the Spanish flu. But
like
I just mean, like,
pandemic wise.
I mean, like we have we have people whose grandparents or great grandparents survived really horrible situations, and they, were obviously able to like share with us, and younger generations like what they went through. But in terms of like what we've experienced in our lifetimes, I was like, Cricket, I can't even imagine what it's like to be 7 years old right now.
Yeah.
Like they're, and what you're thinking about all the time, in this past year. And she just was just sobbing. So anyway, my point being, like, open the fucking Barbie doll. You know what I mean? Like, get this year of all years. Maybe next year we're like, we wait until the 24th. We can open up out of town presents from friends or family. That's what we always did in my family growing up. On Christmas Eve, we could open up out of town.
Because everybody sent you
family.
fucking clothes.
Right. Well, my aunt Barbara Jean always sent really fun gifts. She was always super fun. But then Christmas is Christmas. Yeah. Like all the fun happens on Christmas. But this year I'm just like, guys, go to town.
Yeah.
So we've been letting them open presents. I just feel like, and I've been buying like presents for so many people and like weird fun stuff. And I don't know. I met those guys in Philly that have that organization, like the mentorship organization. He reached out to me on Instagram and I was like, send me your wish list for your kids. And I put it up on my Insta, and then I just like bought the rest of the toys for them. I just am like, what's going to make somebody feel like, even if it's like a molecule better for one moment. And if it's a thing, like I know we live in this, I know that this is all part of the problem. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, we're just living
trying.
with such, yes.
We're just trying. I saw this tweet that I think it was like Jabuki, but 1 million people tweeted it too. And it was like, fuck capitalism just as soon as my packages get here. And I feel like that is where we're all at. We're all just like, but if I could just, I don't know, I'm going to order those cookies. I think that we're all just like, everybody deserves something nice. I saw this thing where like somebody who worked at a grocery store was really mad because like this always infuriates me, but like there's this thing like we've talked about it before, like how America hates poor people, but people think that poor people should like be suffering because they're poor. And like this lady was like, I work at a grocery store and people with EBT cards come in and buy crab and steak and $40 cakes, and I'm like, poor people deserve to have cake for their birthday.
Right. Like, are they just supposed to have spam? Is that
and
what you think? Yeah.
It's like, are you because you're poor doesn't mean you can't buy yourself a steak. Like, you deserve something nice. And I think right now at this point in time, if you could do anything, if you could buy somebody a fucking cake, a piece of steak, a pound of crab claws, a toy, a Barbie doll, if there's any way that you are able to make somebody happy, like, just fucking let's do it.
Yeah.
We also need to address the fact that, yes, fuck capitalism, right? I mean, a lot of people feel that way, but also the way that our lives and our country is set up, you're not able to do anything else kind for yourself without capitalism. Really.
You need money.
You need money. And also people are stretched so thin, no matter who you are, no matter what level of socioeconomic anything, you're stretched so thin and everything is really, really difficult at this time. So like if you want to use the few dollars that you have to buy a cake, or if someone wants to buy a cake for you, you deserve that. People aren't just, living the simple life out on Walden Pond or whatever. Like that's a different thing. People aren't just like whittling dolls for themselves for joy. Like no one has time for that. So like if you want a fucking bath bomb or a cookie because you've worked really hard at your high paying or low paying job all day. Like that's just how we're set up right now.
It's how we've been set up
Forever.
since we've been alive, all of
Yes.
us. Like our generation and younger generations. Like we are a product of like the ad age. Like it's all Don Draper's fault. Like fuck that guy.
Well, it's like, it's really interesting, you know, like our merch is a good example. Like we thank you everybody who ordered merch. That was
merch,
amazing.
but see, that's also perfect. Yes, I love our merch.
It's so nice.
And we love it and it makes us happy. But so many people were
does.
like, why does it cost this amount of dollars? And I'm like, I feel like I've spent the last week on Instagram being like, this is the same as what all podcast merch costs, but we searched for someone that was like an eco-friendly, woman-owned company that did good things for the community. The company that makes our merch does incredible things for sick kids in the hospital. That's their main.
Yeah, that's how she started in honor of her little brother who passed away.
So that's their main business. And so like us doing business with them allows them to do their main business even more. But yes, I totally get it. It is not the same as just buying a t-shirt at Walmart or whatever. It is more expensive. But there are reasons, but
Why? Yeah.
yeah. But thank you to everybody that
But also, I do love it.
It's
and
really
it makes you
fly.
happy.
It makes me happy.
And so many
it's
people
so
are
cute.
getting it because it makes them happy. They feel connected to this group chat. I think that that's the thing. I think that we have been like indoctrinated into thinking that like we don't deserve joy if it costs anything. And the fact of the matter is all joy costs money, because that is like where, even if you're like, I just want to, not all joy, but like, even if you're like, I want to do some crafts, paper ain't free.
Right.
Glue ain't free.
No, it's not.
I want to
I'll
bake
tell
my
you something. I worked for Michael's for several years.
glue
That
ain't
shit
free.
ain't free.
Glue ain't free. I want to bake my own cake. Flour ain't free. Like, even though you are.
I mean, bread baking is like the bougiest of all the. I
tell you right now.
It's more expensive to bake
the bread.
than
As
to
a-
buy it.
Like I said before, as a bread baking bitch, bread should cost $1,000.
It's not just expensive resources. It's also like very luxurious amount of time that a lot of
So
people
much time.
don't have. So when people are like, you know, oh, you don't deserve to buy a cake in a grocery store, it's like, I'm very happy for you that your life is set up that you can like make a cake from scratch inexpensively in your home. But for somebody else, like that time is money, and that's time that they don't have to make a cake, so they just never get cake.
There's an interesting thing, like with, you know, I work with Baby to Baby in Los Angeles, and they have like a nationwide network. But, you know, years ago when I first learned about like what the diaper gap is, and I would post about what Baby to Baby was doing and how, you know,
What's the diaper gap?
Well, the diaper gap is like the start of everything, Shantira, because diapers are prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
They're taxed, and it prevents like if a mom doesn't have enough diapers for their baby, like a lot of times moms have to choose between diapers and food.
Yeah.
And if they don't have enough clean diapers for their babies, they can't leave their babies at daycare, because at daycare
You have to leave diapers.
you have to leave diapers for your child. And if you can't leave your baby at daycare, then you can't go to work. And then thus begins the cycle of poverty in kids' lives, right? So, but a lot of people, when I would post about that, about like, we need, you know, thank you Huggies and blah, 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 a lot of like privileged, mostly white people would be like, why don't they use cloth reusable diapers? And you're like, well, because in order to use cloth reusable diapers, you have to have either a diaper service that you pay for that comes and gets them and launders them and sanitizes them and cleans them and returns them, or you have to have access to a washer dryer unit and the time and the money to be able to do the laundry. And I truly, when somebody first said that to me, this was like years and years ago, I was like, oh shit, why don't they do reusable diapers, like cloth diapers? That's such a good point. And then when I talked to the organization about it, they were like, well, This is why, Busy. A lot of people are living in their cars or in shelters, or they have temporary housing and they don't have access to these, whatever. And so things sometimes seem very simplistic from a place of privilege. Like, there's an easier way, you should do this. But in actuality, when you go into it, you realize that there's a reason why it is the way that it is.
Yeah, it's really good to always ask yourself, what are the privileges that allow me to do this in the way that I choose to do it? And also, a lot of times people are suggesting for other people, you should do it this way. And a lot of times I'm like, are you doing it that way?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's the same thing. Did we talk about this on the podcast? Because I didn't get to listen to all last week about the Whole Foods, about the orange, the peeled orange.
Yes.
Was that on the podcast?
Yes.
Right. That's the same thing where it's you don't know. Maybe there's a reason why. Let's do a little bit of further investigation. Yeah. You guys, I had a bad week. I was crying so much. I cried so much. Shantira, maybe I was just feeling your drugged up
sympathetic
vibe.
opioid tears.
I could not stop crying.
I was crying like crazy. I just wake up and be like, I gotta cry. I just I've never been so grateful for a red Gatorade. Let me tell you.
It's also just crying season. Mean, this is the season where I 100% cry at McDonald's commercials, Folgers commercials.
Matilda last night. I rewatched Matilda last night.
I was just thinking about Matilda. Is it
shout out to Mara Wilson.
Oh my gosh, I love Mara Wilson.
Cute.
She's so great. Great on Twitter as well. A great Twitter follow.
She's a great Twitter follow.
She's also
a child actor that really turned out wonderful.
She's also a very nice person and friend.
Is she? Are you guys friends?
Yeah, I really love the movie. I grew up. I used to have it on VHS. And I was like, I think I want to watch Matilda because I've never not enjoyed it. Couple things about Matilda. They don't make kid actors like they used to. Even the extras were cute as hell and killing. I was like, damn, if I was a casting, whoever cast this movie is fantastic. Everybody is perfection. The other thing that got me, Mrs. Honey's cottage. She said that she paid a local farmer $50 a month to live in that cottage. I passed away. I am a ghost now. I died. The ghost is selling this podcast. We live in hell. That cottage costs $50 a month. Kill me. And then at the end of that movie, this is the first time I've truly, truly watched it as an adult who's going to therapy in touch with my feelings. At the end of that movie, the last fucking line, Danny fucking DeVito narrates is, and they were so happy that they finally found the thing they'd always been looking for. And then I just went, a family, and started crying. And then Danny DeVito goes, a family. And I fucking lost my mind.
Oh my God.
I was like, Matilda and Miss Honey needed family. And I just bawled. So that's where I'm at today. And I wasn't even, no opioids. That was pure sobriety. Sobriety, baby.
It's the crying season. It's the crying year. And we always talk about how we cry on airplanes, how there's we think it's something about the air pressure that squeezes your tears out of you.
The atmosphere makes you you're heightened. You're all your senses are heightened in the air.
And you just bawl your eyes out on a plane. But
the worst I ever cried to a movie was my dog Skip on the airplane.
Yeah.
You guys, I could not stop crying. So embarrassingly, hysterical.
I cry from the in-flight magazine articles.
Yeah.
I cry from the Sky Mall.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
You guys, I loved Sky Mall.
It was good.
Did you ever order shit from Sky Mall?
No,
but
I wish
I
did. I think if Sky Mall was truly still around, I would have ordered something. But Sky Mall was just your own little personal QVC. I really loved it.
The Hammaker Schlemmer of the sky.
No, or actually where I got Shantira's Christmas present and your son and husband's Christmas presents, Uncommon Goods.
Yes.
Is Sky Mall.
Yes. I love that kind of shit.
I was so obsessed with Sky Mall. And there was a period of time, I think when I was on Dawson's Creek, when almost all of my Christmas presents were ordered from Sky Mall, which skymall.com still exists. I'm on it right now. I'm on it right now, and I'm about to make a purchase. You better believe it.
Because it's all
What are
like
you buying?
knickknacks. It's fun little knickknacks.
I want the automatic pill dispenser. I want the full-size electric guitar beginner starter kit. I want it all. Kodak Print-O-Matic instant print camera. What am I not? Crayola hand sanitizer for kids. What?
Fuck capitalism, except
Sky Mall. Sky Mall is the best. I knew a girl, actually, Nicole Sullivan, the comedian actress.
Yes.
Nicole Sullivan, who we love. Nicole once took this was like early days of sleeping pills, and she was on a long flight, and she took like an Ambien or one of the ones that, probably has since been given a warning. And like 2 to 3 weeks later, boxes started arriving at her house. And it was like she couldn't stop the boxes and she couldn't figure it out. Like truly just box upon box upon box. I also heard a story that somebody, like some actor from the 90s, early 2000s bought like a vintage sports car whilst on Ambien.
Oh my God. So many things.
I saw like a, how like RIP True TV, I think, but like they used to have those shows where it would be like the 20 wildest things that happened when somebody was sleepwalking. And then I like watched one and it was like people who would sleepwalk and buy stuff. And like it's like a big problem. So like they fall asleep and wake up and then they'd be like, I spent $15,000 on a home beatboxing studio. Like just crazy fucking shit. But
yes, when I worked on Best Week Ever, we did a story about this woman had like inexplicably gained all of this weight. And then her husband, I think, set up a camera and she was like eating a full loaf of bread every night on Ambien.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like a full loaf.
I also heard of an actor. I don't want to say the name. I know the actor. I'll tell you offline. Blind item. Who would order and eat an entire giant pizza.
That's so
dangerous.
He was on
Ambien.
Whoa.
But also so fun.
But I mean, kind of amazing.
The pizza part.
Yeah, but you can't even enjoy it. That's the thing. Like, do you think that version of you even enjoys it? Like,
yes.
Oh, okay, cool. That's fair.
I had pizza last night for dinner. It was delicious.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I'm doing my best at crying this week. I finished work, even though I was like barely. I barely finished work. Something happened at work that I can't talk about, but I will in the future. And Renee Elise Goldsberry and I were just texting, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll come on the podcast. You and I'll talk about it."
Oh my gosh, I love this for me.
It's a lot of I know. And there's like some weird shit right with Universal that we have to like get their permission to even have her on the podcast because they're so weird.
It's true.
But whatever, fine. We'll get permission and we'll have her come on and we'll tell the story of what happened, which was crazy. And like, you know how my longtime agent Lori Bartlett says she has a secret file that's like only happens to Biz. Like shit that only happens to me. This story falls in line with that, but Renee is part of it, so I didn't want to tell. We've learned a lot, I will say, in these past 20 episodes about talking to people before you talk about them on a podcast.
Yes.
We're learning.
Yeah.
And there's I'm sure that it'd be great for me to be like Howard Stern vibes and just like talk whatever shit I want to about whatever. But I also like really, I respect my friends and family and coworkers. And so I'm going to just chat with them about what's okay.
And you didn't get $90 million to talk shit on Sirius last year.
That's right. I know, but maybe Shantira, maybe if I were more forthcoming and just like talked all the dirt, just gave it all up, then we would have more people listening, and then I would get the big $1 billion
I think
deal.
that like only like dirty old men get to do that. I think
for sure, 100%.
Everybody was just like,
a woman couldn't live it down.
They would hate
look at how Wendy Williams has like been to the brink and back so many times, because I consider her like the female corollary to
Yeah.
what Howard Stern has always been doing. And people have tried to cancel Wendy Williams like every 5 years or so.
I mean, people gave
throughout
me
history.
shit for using names in my memoir. Like,
and like
people's
that's what
actual,
a memoir is for.
yeah, but also like really didn't say anything that bad about anyone that I named in the book. I mean, the Franco story notwithstanding, but that was like a story that had been told publicly many times, including on Watch What Happens Live.
And by him, right? Had he
And by him on stage.
Yeah.
So like, I didn't think I was like fucking doing anything that was going to be controversial.
I saw this
But-
tweet. I like only speak in Twitter now, but it was like very funny because it was like man speaks and it says, "How dare you tell everybody about the time I treated you terribly? Why aren't you being nice to me?" And it was like, that is the truth. It's like, how dare you talk publicly about the time that I was abusive to you? And it's like, wait, I'm not in trouble because you're
Right.
bad.
That was like, oh, there was a woman who like came, there were a couple women that like came after me on behalf of men in my book that they felt I had like
Yeah, it was like
wronged or whatever. And I was just like,
they treated you poorly, but like you have to be nice about it. And it's like, the
I was
answer
like,
to that is
ladies,
no.
like, yeah, first off, calm the fuck down. Secondly, what war are you fighting here? Like, what is, this is the hill? Okay, sure. Like, all right, fine. Go fuck yourself. You know who you are. Anyway, I'll tell you guys someday. Book 3.
Book 3.
Well, I don't know.
We're gonna
I
skip a whole
assume,
book.
Yeah, I assume book 2 will not. I won't get into it.
But here's the thing: you say book 3, they're gonna fucking run with that. That means book 2 is already in the works, ready to go.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I might want to write another book.
You should.
I'm thinking about it.
You should.
The amount of books that I've read that are bad, and those people get to, and those people get to keep writing books. Your book is good. You should write more. It's like there's like not even trilogies. There's just like rows and rows and rows of
I know.
bullshit, and they're bajillionaires. And it's like your book was good. And it's like always like somebody who's great, who's like, I don't know if I could do a second one. And then it's like some fucking chode who's like, this is my 87th book.
I know. Well, I do feel like dudes just like vomit on paper and then like, you know, turn it in.
Yeah,
and it's
truly.
like basically done.
Yeah, give me fucking 3 books and a goddamn movie, Busy.
All right. I'm going to work on that. Right after I wrap all these fucking presents for everybody, and then I probably cry a little bit more. And no, I'm okay.
I cried a lot
Probably.
last night. I don't think I'm gonna cry today, but I have to go to that post-op appointment, and I can't wait because I have to wear this weird bra for the last 4 days, and I can't wait to take it off.
So they'll cut it off of you, and then you get to see your boobies.
Yeah,
It's going to be
exciting.
exciting.
But I'm just like, it's one because I have not slept. I mean, I know I have friends who like sleep in bras because their tiggle bitties are very big, but I like have had to like sleep in this special surgery bra for like the last 4 days, and I hate it.
Like a compression bra.
Yeah.
Well, we have to get to our interview.
Yeah.
Wait,
is
Casey, but
waiting.
we didn't.
But I didn't.
I guess because last week. See my brain.
Yes.
Last week was so fucking long for me. Last week you had 3 things that you were doing your best
Yeah,
at.
it doesn't.
So maybe
so
you. No,
we can-
what are you doing your best at this week?
Oh, I was really just going to say, like, to everyone who works at home, one thing I really paid attention to this week is like just keeping your work day to work hours, because I'd been working like 16 hours a day to the point where I felt like I couldn't see straight and I was going to vomit. When you're working from home, it's really easy to just start the second that you wake up and never stop until the second that you pass out at night. And that is not okay. And it's not healthy.
AKA like what I've been doing on Girls
Yes.
5 Eva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to shut it down at some point. You can't. And that's, you know.
I can't. See?
Right.
That's
right.
the problem.
But
I
that's
just
also
cry.
like, that's also a really amazing job and it doesn't last forever. So there's like
That's
a
right.
light at the end of the
That's right.
tunnel.
That's right.
But like if you're working 16, 17 hours a day at like an at-home job that, you know, you're doing remotely or whatever, you really have to you have to stop answering those emails at a certain point and give yourself like,
Cut it off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
There's
cut it
like
off, guys.
a study that was showing that offices are actually getting more work out of people as
Oh,
they're
sure.
at home. They're getting more
Because
work out of people.
Now
'Cause
you
they're
work
like, oh.
during what would have been your commute. And
Yes.
like you work through your lunch and you feel guilty because like whatever, like you looked at TV for a second or you like pooped for 15 minutes, you know, and so you put in like all this extra.
Guys, if you're pooping for 15 minutes, though, for real, we need to talk.
Yeah. That's like an issue between you and your doctor, but it doesn't mean that you have to put in 3 extra hours at the end of your work day.
Agreed. I find the New York, LA thing to be really tricky because of timing.
It's really bad for New Yorkers. It's fantastic for people who live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I get my emails like for Amber Ruffin, I get stuff at 7:30 in the morning, and then they're done at like 2. It's perfect. So I'm really sorry for you though, but I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been hard for me too, just because I have been juggling so many different things.
Yeah.
And so it's like just doing this TV show would be enough to
Absolutely.
be exhausting. But in addition to that, like working on like stuff charity wise that I've committed to that I, you know, because I always overextend. I'm like, sure,
Yeah.
I'll participate, host / you know, give you 7 hours of my time, whatever.
And
Right.
now you
That-
have to write me 2 books. So
I know I have to write you 2 books, but like all of that stuff, and then on top of it, I'm envious of when I hear about parents who are able to like, they're like, oh yeah, I just had to like go stay. I just stayed in a hotel overnight, so you know, so because I knew I had to wake up super early. Like this is a type of person. This exists. Like we know people like this, guys.
Yes.
all of us. But like where they like will check out of parenting for like 24, 48 hours because they have like a deadline or they've got a thing or they have to do a thing. That's not a reality for me. Like I
Right.
can't do that. It's not an option because for several reasons, but it's just fucking not. So, you know, I'll get home from working whatever a lot and having like my no lunch hour because I had to like do a fucking interview for Scotch Brite or whatever. And like hustling. And then I get home and Mark's like, Cricket waited up so you can put her to bed. And I'm like, fantastic. That is great fucking news.
Yeah.
And then she's like crying hysterically because of the state of the world. It's a lot. Everybody's going through a lot. Everybody has a lot. I know I'm not alone in this.
no,
I know we all work hard.
It's hard. It's, as I usually say, it's wild in these streets.
Yeah.
Streets being our home because we're not supposed to be out.
Right. So, yeah. So everybody try to just cut out some time for yourself to just, you know, eat your
Even
soup,
if it's just
take a
5
bath.
minutes, just
Yeah.
breathing air. It's
My
hard.
fucking bathtub situation has really been chapping my butt. Chapping my butt. Is that
That
an
feels
expression?
right. I mean, chaps are for your butt, so
Chapping my butt. Also, on a whole other fucking note, I feel like maybe I have a hemorrhoid.
oh dang. You are
Girl,
stressed then.
You
Your
need
butt.
to just eat a head of iceberg lettuce every day for a week and see if that turns things around with your hemorrhoid.
Really? I don't even know if it is. I don't know. I can't tell. I just know like it hurts.
Yeah.
Make Mark look at it.
I don't want to do that. That's exhausting. I've had like fissures.
Yeah.
I think it's just a fissure because I've had that because of my IBS spastic colon, which has been on a real tear the last
Right.
week. Boy, let me tell you.
No pun
Yeah.
intended.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Anyway, guys, maybe this is too much information for you.
No,
but
I
I'm
feel
just
like we
sharing
should all talk
because-
about poop. I'm pooping like crazy.
Well, that's good considering
Yeah.
the pain
Pay
medication
meds,
and
but I'm not
and-
taking those anymore. As
Right,
soon as I
so-
stopped,
Constipation reversed.
It was Poop City, USA, baby.
Well, I think what is going to make Busy's hemorrhoid feel better and what is going to...
Oh, my segue I think might be better.
Okay.
Okay. So my segue was like, I just was talking about how much I have been working and how exhausted I am. Our guest today is literally one of the most hardworking people ever, right? And she's out there making it happen, putting herself at risk. And she's been doing it legit since she was 18 years old, 19 years old, a child,
Yes.
an actual child. Whereas I was like, it was so hard to be on Freaks and Geeks. She was like, I was in Kosovo, which is like, that's true. That is a true story. We were so honored to have Lisa Ling as a guest on our pod.
Truly a dream come true. It's one of my favorites.
For all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all huge fans.
Absolutely.
And she was like getting ready to zoom out of, well, not zoom, but peace out to get out of town because she was going on assignment again. She was getting her PPE ready. And we really enjoyed chatting with her. So why don't we take a listen? Guys, Skillshare is a sponsor of this episode. We love them. And honestly, if you're still looking for a holiday gift for someone, give a gift that means more. Get creative. And you can learn how to make the perfect handmade gift with Skillshare's online classes. Or you could gift someone a Skillshare online class.
That's what I'm going to do.
You could do it with someone, or you could do it with a person.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, let's take Plants at Home, Uplift Your Spirits in Your Space, taught by Christopher Griffin at Plant Queen.
Exactly.
Which is something that I'm interested in.
Skillshare, to be clear, is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. So it's just like a mall of classes that you can take to do anything you want to do.
Maybe there's animation, creative writing, fine art, music, and music production classes you're interested in, or illustration, graphic design, photography. They have Creativity Unleashed, Discover, Hone, and Share Your Voice Online, taught by Nathaniel Drew.
Love it.
I love it. And there's also a class called Find Your Style, 5 Exercises to Unlock Your Creative Identity, taught by Andy J. Pizza.
I love Andy
just
J.
love it.
Pizza. I just want to know
Me too.
Andy J. Pizza.
Me too. Maybe we can have him on. Anyway, I think that Skillshare is awesome, especially that a lot of us are like still facing this indefinite amount of time in our homes. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. So explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/best and get a free trial of the premium membership. That's Skillshare.com/best. And you will get a free trial of the premium membership. That's amazing. Go ahead. Explore your creativity at Skillshare.com/best. Athena Club, I realized I haven't gotten waxed in a long time. Guess what I needed? Athena Club came into handy. Is that a good one? Is that a great song?
I like it.
Yeah? I mean, it's all right. I've been using the Athena Club razor. I look forward to using it. It's cute. It's the sharpest patented blades on the market.
You know what I love about Athena Club?
What?
I love that it gets delivered to me because, you know, when I remember that I need to buy razor heads when I'm in the shower, wishing I had a new one.
A new one, yeah. I just love it because I feel like it's given me the closest shave ever, and it soothes my skin, and I'm not getting any bumps or burn. And in the dry skin winter months, I have found all of the products, the Cloud Shave Foam, to be very helpful.
Yes.
Very helpful. And the best part is the razor kit is only $9, which includes 2 5-blade razor heads, your choice of razor handle color. I went pink.
I have blue.
And a magnetic holder for easy storage. And the new blades get shipped regularly, so I have yet to run out. Athena Club also has a bunch of other self-care essentials that you can get delivered right to your door, like natural deodorants, body lotions, and face wipes.
Love those
And
face wipes.
they're offered in bundles, which is a great stocking stuffer or a gift. I don't know. Maybe you want to do that. So for the smoothest, closest shave all year long, do what we do and switch to Athena Club. Sign up today and you're going to get 20% off your first order. Just go to athenaclub.com. Use promo code BEST. That's ATHENACLUB.com with promo code BEST for 20% off. Get it. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks
I'm
for
so
being
happy to
here.
have you on. Thanks for being here.
I'm really excited.
Well, Lisa, I've been a fan of yours since I was a freshman in high school.
Oh yeah, you watch. Okay, what state did you grow up in?
I grew up
first
in
of all?
Arizona,
Okay, we were big in Arizona.
and Channel 1 was was like the greatest 20 minutes, 15. How long was it?
It was 12 minutes to be exact, with 2 minutes of commercial.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
for people at home who didn't have Channel 1 was a news program, like current events news program that was put in certain public high schools in exchange for they put televisions in every homeroom.
Exactly. It was in middle schools and high schools, public and private. But the schools all got television equipment and broadcast equipment. So, all stuff that is completely irrelevant now, but you had to watch 12 minutes. You had to watch 12 minutes of a news broadcast in order to get all that stuff in your school.
Which then also had ads. Right.
It had ads.
So
Exactly.
it was right.
What were
So
the
it was like-
ads for?
Like, teen stuff, Noxzema and tampons and whatever, right?
But Busy, it was so controversial because it had ads, even though now every kid has a phone, right? And it's just like it's the cold hard sell every second of the day. But yet when Channel 1 was in schools airing this news broadcast, it was super controversial because it had 2 minutes of advertisements.
So
For sure. Now schools have like Taco Bells in them, don't they?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ironically,
Totally.
at the time, my school did have a Taco Bell in it.
Well, that's why they didn't care about those
They didn't
commercials
care.
at
And
all.
Pizza Hut. We had Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
I'm jealous.
We had Pizza Hut and Chick-fil-A, but no sauce.
Ooh.
They gave us a
Whoa.
bunch of chicken with no sauce, and I was like, "Why are you doing this to us?"
I'm jealous. I just had different shades of brown food every day at my school.
Same.
Oh yeah.
What I would have done for a Taco Bell.
I know. It was actually really nice. A bean and cheese burrito still hits the spot.
And of course, like we all know, the nation knows and loves Lisa from when she joined The View.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
That was when
Yeah.
I was like, this show is for me. This show, The View, is for me. I like this woman.
Thank you. It was funny because I'd been on Channel 1 for 7 years, traveling all over the world and covering stories. In fact, when I got the call that I got the job on The View, I was covering the refugee crisis in Kosovo.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
26. I was like 25 or 26 years old. And then in 2 weeks, I was sitting at that table on The View after like having covered all this stuff. And the first question Meredith Vieira asked me on my first day on live TV was, "So are you a virgin?" I'm like,
What?
it's The View, right? So
It's a good thing that there was no Twitter. That would have been
wait, Lisa, what year was that? What year did you join The View?
99,
remember?
right?
yes, it was 99, 98 or 99. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
I graduated from high school in 97.
Thanks, Busy. Thanks.
Oh, but you're not that. I mean, you're only a couple years older than me, but in that classic like teen thing, you seemed like an adult because you were covering crises all over the world for me when I was a teenager. You and Anderson Cooper, who also was on Channel 1, guys, just FYI. And then when you got The View, I realized like, oh, you really aren't that much older than I am. But then by that time I was like 20. So
everybody on TV is a grown-up. Everybody
that's
everyone
right.
on TV is a grown-up. That's what happened, especially if you were doing news.
But I'm just so curious, like post college, and you wanted to be, and you are a journalist, right?
Right.
What was the dream?
I guess the dream when I was a kid, because I grew up, in a totally non-diverse community, and the only Asian person on television who was kind of high profile was Connie Chung. Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, do you know who Connie? You guys know who Connie?
Yeah, love
Okay.
Connie. She's my hero.
Before we even go on, everyone out there listening, look up. There's an iconic Connie Chung photo of her being the only woman in a newsroom. And it's truly like representative of everything you've ever felt. It's one of the most iconic, badass. She's there and she's like, I'm sick of all these men and I'm going to change the game. Everyone look up. It's really fucking cool.
I have it I have it posted on my Instagram, at least Lisa Ling Instagram, if you want to find it. But it is an amazing photo.
But
the only reason I asked if you know her is because I have met young people who do not know who Oprah is right now. So, because like,
oh no,
kids aren't watching TV. So
I just turned to dust in my chair.
It's like when Paul McCartney did that song with Kanye and Rihanna, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, that old man is gonna be so popular. That's cool for him. That's so cool that old man got that."
It makes me so sad.
Totally, but yeah. So as a kid, I wanted to be Connie Chung, but then when I started working for Channel 1, because they hired me as this young correspondent and started sending me out to crazy places in the world to cover stories, I started to realize I want to be in the field, and I want to travel, and I want to immerse myself in different worlds and different cultures. I mean, I was really young when I was doing this, like in my late teens, early 20s. And it's kind of wild that I'm still doing that kind of stuff, more than 20 years later. But I love being in worlds that are just really different from mine.
I mean, you're so good at it, and you like found, I don't know, I think even if you're 19, 20 years old and you find the thing that speaks to you, you got to keep pursuing that thing.
Well, that's why I always tell, whenever I talk to college kids, I always tell them before they jump into a job, if you can travel, or live somewhere that's different from where you grew up and different from where you go to college. Because it's just, to me, it's so life-changing when you have that experience when you're young. It totally just expands your horizons in such profound ways. And that's like the biggest piece of advice I always give people, young people.
How did you start working for Channel 1 how old were you?
I was 18 when I started working for Channel 1. And because it was seen in schools, they wanted like young-looking correspondents to come and be like cute-ish reporters and anchors. And over the years, Channel 1 decided that they really wanted to send its reporters out to cover stories. So when I first started at Channel 1, I was kind of this like, I had tons of makeup on, sitting at a desk reading news because I looked like every other, 16-year-old in high school. but then when they decided, okay, we're actually going to go out and try and report stories, they brought in all these producers who had worked at all the networks. And it's funny because Anderson Cooper was a fact checker at Channel 1. And
wow,
he went to Vietnam to go do some to teach English. And he ended up filming a lot of the stuff that he was doing in Vietnam. And it was so good that the head of Channel 1 decided, I'm going to put you on air. Like, he went from fact checker to on air correspondent because the stuff that he was reporting or the stuff that he had collected in Vietnam was so good and so unlike what we were seeing on television. It was just like first person reporting. So that's kind of how Anderson had a lot to do with Channel 1 changing from just being these 90210 looking reporters to real to correspondents out in the field.
Wow.
Who still look like they could be on 90210.
Yeah, well, true. To be fair, Shantira, yes.
And then what what was your family's reaction to like the first time that you told them you were going to go somewhere far flung to cover something?
Well, my parents got a divorce when I was really young. And so I grew up pretty independently. Like I grew up with my dad and he was always working. And so I could actually kind of disappear places and say I'm going off with my friends for a week and he wouldn't know. So for a significant part of my experience at Channel One, neither of my parents like knew too much about where I was going. I mean, I went to Afghanistan, Iran, Algeria, Colombia, Kazakhstan. And I would often tell them after the fact because I was already 18, you know, I was starting college at USC. I wasn't living at home. So so they didn't really know.
I really love that that mentality, especially when you're young, when you're in pursuit of like a dream. I really do believe that in the like ask forgiveness, not permission. I told my parents I was moving to Chicago 2 weeks before I moved. It was like less time for them to be upset because you're like, oh, I already did it.
Well, the funny thing is, you know, so I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. So I have a long way before they start like openly defying me. But I'm telling you, I mean, if they even remotely pull that shit.
Yes.
What I was going to say is that you in 1999 could get away with that to a certain extent. No one had cell phones. There was no way to track people. You had to wait for someone to call your home phone and leave a message. So it was much easier to dodge your parents in the late 90s and early 2000s than it is currently today to dodge your parents.
That's very true, but I'd still be all over them. It's funny because, you know, I live in Los Angeles. So my husband and I joke that, you know, when we talk about where they're going to go to college one day, even though I went to USC, I go, you know what? I'd rather them go to UCLA because USC is too far.
Oh my gosh.
Meanwhile, I'm in Afghanistan and Iran in my
Oh my God. I know that my 21-year-old and my 18-year-old are listening to this right now. And I just want to tell you, if you go to Afghanistan without telling mom, it's going to be a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if I go out of the country, I tell my parents. Like when I had to go to Mexico for like a week. If I just go to New York, I'm not going to tell my mom. She don't need to know. 21-year-old me probably would have gone to Mexico and not said anything. 33-year-old me, I was like, this is the number I'll be at.
So you were at Channel One for a number of years with Busy Phillips watching you and then
Loving you.
You
You were our favorite.
Oh, thanks, Busy. That's awesome.
Truly,
Thank you.
truly, everybody, like we all loved you and always wanted to see what crazy shit you were going to be in. Like you were always, because you were like in the trenches and it was just, you were incredible. And while they had legitimate people, they had you and obviously Anderson Cooper and other journalists that on it, but like they were like talking to high school kids in a way that we hadn't been sort of talked to before about current events. We were included in the story is my point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As opposed to us like not having a non-participatory view. And that's like a thing that adults deal with. Now I think it's so commonplace for kids and young adults. My 12-year-old is like very, you know, socially active, and Caisie's kids have worked on political campaigns. Like, you know, but back then, I feel like we were sort of left out until that came along, and then we took a more interest in it.
Well, no, I mean, I hear you, and I actually wish that there was kind of like an informational news show that was kind of geared toward a younger generation. Because now it's just like I watch news and I'm just like so appalled because it's all opinion, first of all. And second, like, even though kids have access to so much information, like, what are they really accessing? You know what I mean? Like, are they really seeking out things that are really substantive or just kind of like swiping? Right? I don't know. My kids are really young, so I don't know.
It's tricky.
I think it's really important that we get some critical thinking curriculum worked into schooling, because there's a whole buffet of information, and we've seen what disinformation can do in this country in the past few years, especially. So I think we need to really beef up critical thinking skills.
For sure. I agree with you 100%.
But maybe you should do that show for kids. Lisa. Maybe you should produce it.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
So then you went from Channel 1 to The View, and Meredith Vieira is suddenly asking you in front of the entire country, are you a virgin? What was that change like?
You don't you want to know what I said? No, I'm kidding. I was already 26.
I would have lied through my teeth, by the way. I would have been like, yeah, absolutely, for sure.
You would have?
Yeah, if my mom was watching.
Well, I think that's what I said. I was like, well, since my dad is watching, yeah, my conservative Chinese dad.
Oh my God.
But it was, you know what? It was fun. It was totally new for me because I'd never, on The View, you have to perform. It's in front of a live audience, and your job is to go for the laugh. It's to go for like the applause. And I had never done anything like that before. And it was definitely a rush, but at the same time, there definitely are things that I said and did for the laugh that I regret. But I don't know that people realize like there's that pressure to get that reaction, and it kind of just drives you. And it's that was the thing that was most challenging for me. And also I think I always just wanted to go back into the field. I felt like I was so young at that time in my 20s. And if I didn't go back into the field at some point, then I wouldn't get another chance to do it if I just stayed, and continued doing this job for a really long time.
Well, I know that like I went to school for journalism, and then like I couldn't do it. Like everybody it ain't up for it. I was like, this made me sad. I'm gonna go into comedy. But I loved news genuinely. Like growing up, I watched so much of it. Connie Chung was like one of the only like not white people that me and my family watched at 6:00 at night, including our local news. Right. So when you are really trying to like be a journalist that not only is taken seriously, but like gets the type of widespread viewership that I know that you want, is The View like where you go to like, okay, I'm going to do this and then I can go do what I want. Like get enough clout so that I can do what I want to do and be taken very seriously in this world where it's just a bunch of white dudes all the time.
You know what? You totally like hit the nail on the head, because I worked at Channel 1 for 7 years. And when the opportunity at The View came up, I hadn't thought about like a daytime talk show, right? Like it wasn't even something that I ever thought I would be interested in doing. But I did think if I could get this job, because remember, it was Barbara Walters, Meredith Vieira, Star Jones, and Joy, right? I mean, you don't get more, high profile boss than Barbara Walters. So I thought, well, if I can get a job working next to her, then at some point I will better be able to possibly dictate where I go from here. So that was part of the thought process. Like I'll go here and hopefully it'll raise my profile.
So when you got there, you were like, I'm gonna do this for a couple years, then I'm gonna go do this, or while you were there, or did it actually grow into something else after you were there?
I mean, I honestly thought that after The View that I would, go start working as a reporter for a network. Normally when you want to get into reporting, you have to go to a smaller market, like in Wichita, right? No disrespect to Wichita, right?
Market 111.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I thought like, okay, if I could bypass that process, maybe after working alongside Barbara Walters, I can get a job as a network reporter because I'll have a bigger profile. And then this opportunity came up at the National Geographic Channel to host a documentary driven series. And I was all in, but it was funny because they hired me having seen my work at Channel 1. But at the time, National Geographic was like the preeminent authority on like natural history, in the animal world. And like, that's not what I do. And so they really trusted me to do these more human stories, and report on things that they didn't really do as much. So that's kind of, it happened, accidentally. And Nat Geo, even though it's such a widely known brand, the Nat Geo channel was a brand new cable network with like, no viewership at all. So it was a bit of a transition.
That's amazing. What can I ask? Because I'm just very curious. Was Barbara Walters, when you were working alongside her, was she any type of hero to you? I mean, she's an iconic journalist herself. What was that like to be a young journalist sitting next to an iconic journalist on a talk show?
I mean, it was surreal that I was, I would look to my left and there's Barbara Walters. I mean, I can't think of a woman in broadcast journalism, right, who has been more of a pioneer than Barbara Walters. So it was so surreal. And, I mean, Barbara has always had a reputation, right, for certain things, right? And
Yeah.
And I remember hearing Debbie Matenopoulos, who preceded me, she was the first young one on The View, talk about how Barbara used to like kick her under the table when she would say stupid things. So like Barbara, she definitely
She
did
said a
those
lot of
things.
stupid things.
To be fair, the kicks were maybe,
You know what? She would actually also say that she said a bunch of stupid things. She's like,
Yes.
"Oh my God, I should not have been there." Like it was anyway. But yeah, so it was. So all those things were true, but at the same time, like I could see that intensity in her, and I could totally see like that is a driven woman, and I could see when she asks questions of people, even when she was asking questions of me. I'm like a 26-year-old from Carmichael, California, like I felt like I was going to cry every time because it was just like she was so intense about it. So it was pretty
Did
funny.
she ever have to kick you?
She may have kicked me once. She didn't kick me a lot, but I definitely I can't say I ever emerged unscathed from the kicking.
And that's the tea, everyone.
That's the tea.
The tea.
Do you remember why you got kicked?
I can't. I honestly cannot remember at this time. I may have been talk. I think I may have said something that I thought was an acceptable word on television. I think I may have said like tit.
Oh, right. Sure.
Right? I mean, wouldn't you think that would be an acceptable word? Or did
Yes. I would actually. It probably is now.
Very funny to me.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
It wasn't accepted back then.
No.
It's like
Not
your aunt who like when you come over and you have tea with her and then you like stub your toe and you're like, damn, and she's like, excuse me. Like it's
That
like
was
it's not
it.
that bad, but it's like it's who your company is that makes
yeah.
it bad.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my
Sure.
God.
Did people think you were insane for leaving The View to go to Nat Geo? Because The View, that was like very much peak View.
Yeah. A lot of people thought I was insane. And in fact, the day that I left, I cried for the entire day because I'm like, what did I actually do? Like, this is nuts. Because not only was it such a high profile show, but like I had the life in New York, like I was invited to everything and, like sent stuff by designers, the whole thing. And it was a good gig, but I knew ultimately, again, like if I didn't get back into the field, then I might never get a chance to do it again. So yeah, people thought it was crazy. And I remember I drove that day from New York to DC because Nat Geo was located in DC. And I was going to become the host of a series called Explorer. And that night I was having Chinese food with a friend in DC. And I opened my Fortune after having cried all day. And it said, now is the time to explore. I am not kidding.
Oh my God.
That day. And so, those cheesy ass Fortune cookies.
But listen, we
They
talk about
brought
this all
me-
the time. Yeah, you need a sign. Sometimes you need a sign, and the universe just puts one right there for you to find in the way that you need to find it.
Yeah,
Literally on
but
your table.
Yeah, but usually they're like beams of light, right? Or glowing screens.
I don't know. Sometimes, I personally think that when you follow your gut, sometimes it's not easy. And sometimes it does cause you, oh no, I'm going to cry because I've been crying all day. And it does cause you to cry all day, But ultimately, when you get the Fortune at the restaurant or you find the penny on the ground or whatever it is, okay, I'm still on the right path. And like, we're just going to keep heading down this path. I love that you had that moment. That's amazing.
It was really amazing, and I saved that fortune forever and ever. Sadly, I'm trying to think about where it is now, but
You're
it
like,
was.
where is it?
But
We
I,
have
but
kids now. Things, you know.
yeah, but I'll never forget that moment.
That's amazing.
Did you feel like, I know that this, especially for like women in the industry, did you feel like I'm going to take a risk on myself? And were there people out there being like, I don't think that's such a great idea? Because it's one thing to be like, I'm going to leave a local news station to go do Nat Geo. It feels like a downgrade to go from the high rise in New York to an office in DC, you know? So what really made you decide to take that risk on yourself?
Honestly, when I met with Nat Geo, they just talked about how they were going to send me all over the world and constantly. And I was in that place in my life where, you know, I was waking up every day, you know, getting made up, the whole thing, sitting at a desk, you know, with these women. And, it was great. I don't want to complain about that experience. But when I went to meet with Nat Geo and they said, you know, we're going to have you on a plane, you could be out of the country every single month. Wow. With this job, because that's how much we want to cover the world, right? And I just, to me, even though it was less money, it was on a brand new cable network, that's ultimately like what still drives me. Like if, you know, now I have kids, but in the past, if you would have told me if I were reporting in India, like we need you to stay for another month, I'm like, great. I love that. And I still do. Like part of me thinks like, when am I going to get sick of it? Because I'm already, you know, I'm closer to 50 than I am 40 at this point, but I still just like, I crave those experiences. And I just love being in places where my senses are heightened. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, I feel really alive. And I just really, I kind of thrive on that.
Would you say that decision to go to Nat Geo was like one of the bigger pivots in your life?
Definitely. I mean, in terms of the kind of work that I do, definitely. Because since then, I've been doing a similar kind of work, since I left. I mean, what I'm doing now is very much like what I was doing even at Channel 1. It was really The View that was kind of like the outlier.
Like off the path.
Yeah.
You're staying true to the Lisa Ling brand now.
If there is a brand, yeah.
Well, it's the brand of like the things that make you want to get out of bed and do your job in the morning, right? Which is learning about other people, other ways of life, traveling. This is Life with Lisa Ling on CNN. The new season just started, right?
It just started and we only have 2 more episodes left.
Oh, wow.
Wait, is that true? How many episodes did you do this season?
So the season got cut short because of COVID. So we only did 6. We usually do 8, and they aired 2 episodes back to back for 2 weekends. So we now have 2 more left, but you'll be able to see them on HBO Max at some point soon. But
that's
HBO
exciting.
Max
That's exciting.
has everything. You got the right one, girl. Cause
I know.
they're about to have Wonder Woman and another Wonder Woman. Lisa Ling, you're gonna be on there. Everybody gonna be watching you on HBO Max.
Well, thank you, because I mean, of all the seasons of our show will be on, or they're on HBO Max. So this one will go on pretty soon.
Oh, that's good.
That's really exciting. I mean, I truly do. I think there is a Lisa Ling brand because I think of you as what you do. Like, it doesn't matter which show you're doing it on. I think of you as like a real life Carmen Sandiego.
Well, yeah, kind of. And I also feel like right now, I mean, our country is just so messed up and divided, and there's so much ugliness right now. And look, I've been home for most of this year because of the pandemic, and I, like most people, find myself like on social media at night yelling at each other and, just like getting into these fights because everybody's just like so hypercharged. And so I think the importance of getting out there and interacting with people face to face when this is all over is so important, because otherwise, like if we keep going down this course, it's like it's not going to end well, So
no, it certainly
it hasn't
isn't.
been so great. Right now.
I know.
We showed my daughter, it snowed here in New York yesterday, and my little one who's 7 was like, I've never even been in snow. And we were like, you were in snow like 2 years ago in New York. And we looked up the picture and it was actually 3 years ago, but on the same exact day, which is weird.
Yeah.
But she looked at the photo and she was like, "Oh, so weird to see us without masks on, isn't it?" I was like, "Oh,
I know.
that is weird. That is weird."
I know. So my season was supposed to air, months ago, but because of everything happening in the news, it got pushed. And so when the trailer came out, like in all my episodes, I'm just like hugging up on everyone. And so my 4-year-old, after she saw the trailer, the first thing out of her mouth was, "What about COVID-19?"
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
wait. So the documentary series that you did, The Road to a Vaccine, where was it? Was that on CNN as well? Yes.
So no, that was a separate digital series that I did for J&J. And, I'm not someone who would typically do a branded series, but it was an opportunity to interact with like the foremost scientists and healthcare experts in the world. And I learned so much by doing it. And it's going to come back next year.
Lisa, I'm never opposed to partnering with a brand.
Brands make the world go round.
Brands make the world go round. But just tell us real quickly, what are some of the things that you learned in the road to a vaccine?
Well, just the process. I mean, I don't think most people really had any idea what goes into the process, right? And once that they have to go through 3 phases of clinical trials, right? And with tens of thousands of people. And what was most interesting to me is that because this is a global pandemic, they're going to have to produce billions and billions of doses. And that process, it's one thing to create a vaccine. It's another thing to manufacture it. And it's another to distribute it around the world. And I had never even thought about that process. And so, everybody's excited about this Pfizer vaccine and it is exciting news. But they're only going to be able to produce like maybe 1 billion doses first round. There's 7 billion people on the planet, right? Almost 8 billion. So that process is so interesting. And, the Gates Foundation, Bill Gates' foundation, they are already producing a bunch of different vaccines from different companies, even though they haven't even gotten approval because they want to get a head start on the manufacturing of it because they have to manufacture such large scales of it. So all this stuff to me, is fascinating in a way that it wasn't a year ago because I just didn't think about it,
Yeah. I think it's interesting too because we don't really know how the sausage gets made for most anything. Even sausage. Like we don't know how the sausage gets made, let alone the vaccine. So I think it's so interesting because we are a country that is very, very used to the immediacy of our needs being met.
Totally.
But this is the thing that is, you can't do that. And I think it will be very interesting to see how a country that is very much rooted in the "I want it now, daddy." Give it to me now, Veruca Salt of it all. The greatest country in the world, in quotation marks, has to make the sausage the same way they make it everywhere else. And I'm excited for people to see to see that.
And we're pretty far behind other countrais, right? In the pecking order.
You mean in terms of getting the vaccine?
Yeah.
Well, I know California, they have purchased a pretty big load of vaccines, which will be administered to healthcare workers, I think this month. But still, it's going to go to healthcare workers first. Then it's going to be given to, populations that are vulnerable, like people in nursing homes and things like that. But it's going to trickle out. It's not going to be like we're going to get it tomorrow or, maybe even 6 months from now.
Did you do that thing, the New York Times thing, where you find your place in line?
I did, yeah.
What were you?
I was I think 44% of people are ahead of me.
Yeah. I think I was more than that were ahead of me.
I
do it, Lisa?
I didn't do it. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I didn't do it. I should.
I didn't do it because I know I can't get it. I was like, they're not gonna give it to me. They're just not. I'm like, it's like the one time in a woman's life where being over 30 is too young. Like truly. I'd be like, you're 30? That's that's too young. It's like, wow,
Exactly.
can we
See you in a
do
couple
that
years.
for everything else?
Exactly. I interviewed the former vice president of Taiwan. Taiwan is a country that has had no infections in
They
like
have their
hundreds
shit
of days.
together.
They had their shit together. And I mean, it's just so interesting to hear about like how compliant people are because the government's so transparent. And one of the things that was most interesting is in the beginning of the pandemic, they gave every one of the, like every citizen of Taiwan, including babies, about like $70 a day or like $50 to $70 a day to spend on food, but they had to spend it so it would continue to go back into the economy. Like that's something that that would be helpful. I mean, if there was like people had enough money to buy food every single day in this country, but they had to spend it and not hoard it. Like just that simple act alone would have made such a difference in this country. It still could, but oh well.
That's incredible. And also makes too much sense.
So much sense.
Exactly.
There's like a meme that's like this guy praying and he's like, Lord, what you've done for others, will you please do it for me? And I'm like looking at Australia, looking at Taiwan and being like, Lord, what you've done for Taiwan, would you please do for me? And it's like, it's one thing to have to actually figure out the recipe for the sausage, but like somebody already did it. All we have to do is like be like, can I have your sausage recipe? And
Totally.
we're still not doing it. And I think that's what makes me so frustrated. Like we're not even starting from scratch. Like they wrote the recipe book for us already.
But you have to have an administration that even acknowledges there's a problem.
Right.
Yeah. They're like, what are recipes? We just throw stuff in a pot.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. But also what you're saying about individualism, like American exceptionalism and individualism, is that like people think like that all the rules apply to everyone else but themselves here. That's why like the anti-vax movement has gained so much traction. That's why people aren't wearing masks, even though they know that it is a thing that they should be doing. Like, and I'm fighting with the fucking guy behind me in line at Michael's. Like that they just think like, this is for everyone else. I'm special.
And also, by the way, really good people. Like, I know we've set ourselves up to be like so adversarial and like this guy's not wearing a mask and this guy's having a barbecue. But like so many good people I know are like, I got COVID. I was so careful. The only thing I can think of is like I had a hair appointment and then like I got my nails done. And then like I do go grocery shopping every single day. And also like I had coffee with one friend, but we sat like at least 5 feet apart. And then I'm kind of like, that's what you got it one of those ways.
Yeah.
You know,
this doctor was talking about a patient that came in with they had COVID, and the guy was like, I was so safe. Like we had like 15 people over for Thanksgiving, and anybody who had tested positive for COVID, we put them in a room by themselves.
Right.
No.
And it was like,
No.
even when we're trying, it is bad. Like, I don't know. It's just very interesting to watch.
I actually wanted to ask you this question because it's something that Caissie and I have talked a lot about, and it's something that really interests me with the way that the 24-hour news cycle has become a bunch of people with opinions and talking heads choosing, journalists in quotation marks, choosing sides to be on. What do you see as the way forward in terms of getting disseminating information to the American public specifically, you know, and getting back to what is truth?
Yeah. You know what, Busy? I wish I had the answer to that question because it is scary how much conspiracy theory there is now. And because we had a president that basically characterized all legitimate news sources like, you know, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, like calls them all fake, right? Totally delegitimizes, you know, bona fide news outlets. Then it sends people elsewhere to get their information. And, you know, if you hear people getting their information from YouTube channels, then and that's because so many people have just disavowed legitimate news sources. I mean, I just don't know what the way back is, quite honestly. I mean, it's really scary. And I think that the most important thing like the Biden administration can do right now is just be totally transparent with people and allow, you know, the American public to to be witness to the things that they do and the decisions that are made, because I don't know what the way back from that brink is at this point, because so many people have just completely like tuned out logic, tuned out real reporting.
Is there a move to be made by journalists joining forces with ad agencies, for instance, and saying, we will no longer, give our services to
that's
places,
kind of what's happening. That's kind of what's happening. There's so much pressure on big tech, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, that they are starting to remove content that is conspiratorial, that is not grounded in fact at all. So I think we do that's kind of our one last hope. Right. But at the same time, have you guys watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix? You have to watch it.
We have discussed. Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. At the same time, while they take off some of this stuff, they also are creating the algorithms that feed all this stuff to people. Right. And so the news that I get, or that I look for, and the news that someone who is more, conservative or right wing gets is totally different. And so and so that's what's really scary. So, there's a movement to break up big tech and to make it more accountable. And I honestly think that has to happen, because I do think that is one of the only ways out, because it is duplicitous. And these algorithms, like if you can create these algorithms, you can uncreate them, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
You can, because to me, it's there is a way out of that. We just have to put in a pressure.
It's interesting because YouTube and all of social media has democratized, voices and platforms for everybody. But I think it's also made it really confusing, again, to like good people, because like I can look on YouTube and see things from CNN. I can watch television networks on YouTube, but then I can just like look in the sidebar and click on something that looks very official and real, and it's really not. It's just like some guy.
Well, and that's the thing. Like when you have the president of the United States, when you have the leader of your country, essentially not only condoning it, right, but supporting it and feeding it. I mean, I thank God that more of the American people voted to vote him out than because that was ultimately what it was. Because I just think, like, to feed that conspiratorial beast, to continue doing that, I can't see how we would end in anything other than civil war. And it's still such a big threat, but at least he's not calling the shots, right? And Twitter now finally has the balls to pull off things that are not true, like blatant lies.
Right.
Journalistic integrity. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss her.
It is so difficult, because at the end of the day, keep coming back to the question. It's like something my mom used to say to me when I was being really jerky. To what end, Elizabeth? To what end? But like, I keep thinking about that about Donald Trump, about all of these like sort of totally outrageous conspiracy theories that just get bigger and bigger and wilder and crazier, where I'm just like, to what end? What are you getting out of this?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening aside from like the 4 deadliest days in American history in the past week? Like 4 of them, the like top 10 deadliest.
10 most
Did you see that?
deadly days.
Yeah,
yes.
we've surpassed Pearl Harbor. It was like Pearl Harbor was 4, and now Pearl Harbor is like 8, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is like 6, 5, 6, and 7.
It's insane. But I guess I wonder to what end. I wonder that for a lot of the conglomerates that own and continue to put money into some of these legitimate news networks, and how sensational news gets eyeballs, but to what end?
I know.
So I wanted to ask you, like, especially for little journalistic babies or people who just want to be more informed citizens, what are you looking forward to as we leave this what should I say, of misinformation, this time of misinformation,
misadventure with misinformation.
Misinformation.
Yeah.
What do you hope for as we move forward into a world of like actually becoming informed citizens?
Well, I think, look, I mean, if Trump will go away somewhat quietly, I think that news outlets are going to need content because for the last 4 years, it's been all Trump all the time, right? And my hope is that outlets, whether they're broadcast television or websites or, you know, in the digital space, that there will be more real reporting and people really taking the time to get to know people who are different from them. I mean, I know, like, I talk about this all the time, but it's so important that we, you know, when COVID is over, and it will be, that we leave our bubbles and really start to communicate and start understanding each other. Because if we don't do that, honestly, like, the consequences, I think, are dire. And it takes one person, right, to have kind of an enlightened experience, and to really take the initiative to want to understand someone else's life who is different from yours. And I think if enough people start doing this, we can at least get to a point of mutual compassion and understand our shared humanity in all of this, you know? I mean, that is my hopeful.
I think it's very hopeful.
Yeah.
I've said that the one thing that I'm looking for, and why I actually think Joe Biden is the perfect person right now, is that I think we need a return to empathy in this country, and for more people to understand what it means to be empathetic, and empathy can be learned. It really can be. If you have kids, you know it. You have to teach it to some kids. Some kids are not born very empathetic. They will you know, push a kid down on the playground and then be like, what? I wanted that toy. You have to like really teach people sometimes. Okay, real quick, because I know you have to go too. I just wanted to ask how the pivot of COVID, the wrench of COVID, how it affected you and how you're doing. And you have 2 small children that are school age and all of it. I just wanted to ask you about that.
Well, I couldn't work for a long time, or I couldn't go out in the field. So I had been home for a very long time. My husband also got COVID. A few weeks ago, he had a very, very mild case. So, you know, like the last 5 days of his quarantine, he didn't even have any symptoms, but, you know, I made him stay in my little one's room because I was not giving up my room.
Right now, obviously.
I mean, and that was really hard because, you know, I couldn't have any of my kids interact with anyone outside of the house. No one could help me. I was doing everything. Like, my mom has been a big help for me through things. So, you know, and then I'm trying to feed him and sanitize everything all the time. So I've always had mad respect for single moms, but my level of awe of single moms has just grown exponentially. In fact, I was just looking at this article today on Yahoo about whether stay-at-home moms should be paid. And I'm like, absolutely. I mean,
yes.
What I had to do, you know, while my husband was in quarantine, just me with my kids and totally unable to ask for anything or do anything. I just thought, like, if I had to do this every single day without a partner, or without access to friends, I honestly don't know what I'd do. So my level of respect for moms, and we just really need to honor moms at this time, because what moms are carrying on their shoulders right now is just incomparable.
Yeah. And we know that more women are, even if it's a household where both people work, we know that women are, again, taking on more of the domestic labor during this time.
Yeah, because
educational labor.
Because otherwise it won't get done.
Right.
It just won't. Yeah. It won't get done.
It's true. It's true. But now you are sort of back to work. You are back to work, and everybody can watch your show on CNN. And I personally am going to check out the Road to Vaccine docu-series. It's on the Johnson & Johnson website, I assume, right?
It is. If you go to my Instagram page, I link to it. So you can find it there too.
I want to watch it. I'm curious. I want to see. It's interesting.
It's real. I mean, honestly, I'm really, really proud. It's just chock full of information about the vaccine, but also just this climate, the virus, and it's an opportunity to hear from the foremost scientists in the world. So
science.
I love it.
Check it out.
Science. Let's get back to science.
We love her.
Yes.
You're so incredible and such. I love, I don't know. You've been in my life since I was in high school, but you've been in all of our lives for so long, and you've had such an impact. And the stories that you've been able to tell and bring to people, it has been you have told so many life-changing stories. And Lisa, I'm really a huge fan of yours, and I thank you for doing all the work.
Well, thank you. And can we do this in person one day?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That would be so fun. Lisa Ling, I hope the next time you get Chinese food that you have another life-changing fortune.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It. Now I want a fortune. That's fine.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. You're not even
Happy
gonna
holidays.
you're not even gonna recognize me soon. I'm gonna be so PP'd out.
Good. Get it on. Get it all. Just head to toe. Be safe.
Yes.
I am unabashed.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Bye.
So nice to talk to you. Bye.
So nice to talk to you.
Bye,
Bye. Listen, what is time? We don't know. Time sort of feels like it means nothing at this point.
Doesn't
Doesn't exist. Time is just a construct. But as the year comes to a close, there's one important timeline that Modern Fertility wants to help you better understand: your reproductive one. What's going on in those oves? What's happening?
What's happening down there?
We don't know, but that's where Modern Fertility and the Modern Fertility hormone test comes in. Knowledge is power. I'm a firm believer in that. And when you know more, you can make better decisions for your body and your health and your future. And, fertility shouldn't be something that's a big question mark in your life. And that's why Modern Fertility was created. It's the easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a simple finger prick. You mail it in with a prepaid label and boom, you get your personalized results within 10 days. Traditional testing with your doctor can cost over $1,000, but Modern Fertility only costs $159 to get the same information. And if you go to modernfertility.com/best, you can get $20 off your test. Also, if you have HSA or FSA, you can use those dollars on Modern Fertility. So you'll get insight into how many eggs you have, hormone levels, other important fertility factors. The results go deep into what every hormone means, and you can also talk one-to-one with a fertility nurse to review your results and your options for next steps. So right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/best. That means your test will cost $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands it could cost at a doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/best. modernfertility.com/best. Isn't Lisa Ling delightful?
She's amazing. I just have always been such a big fan of hers.
Me too. Shantira, what do you think?
Shantira had to leave.
No.
We talked
kidding.
about
I knew it.
how hard everybody is working, and Shantira had to leave to actually go to work.
She had to jump. She had to jump onto a work call.
Yeah.
That was non-negotiable.
Yeah. It happens. But Lisa Ling, also really funny. That's what I love, when someone is just everything and then like a little funny on top of it.
I am just a huge fan of hers, and obviously have been since high school, as you heard me say repeatedly, and that was basically all I wanted the interview to be about. But Caissie, what are you going to do for the holidays for New Year's and like this week? What are you doing? Anything?
Just like nothing. Yeah,
well,
that's
no, I know, but like, what are you doing?
we're gonna open gifts. We have been saving our gifts. We always keep them. We don't put them under the tree. Like ever since the kids were little, we never put them under the tree to just like remove that temptation to be obsessed.
So you're saying that maybe if I had done things differently, I wouldn't be in the current shit show that I'm in. All right.
Saying, knowing myself and knowing my kids, I still fully obsess over things like that as an adult. Like I just can't stop thinking about it. And so we always just keep them put away and then put them out like on Christmas Eve. So we're still like wrapping gifts, but it's just going to be the three of us. And then we're going to Zoom with my older son and probably my mom. My in-laws, I don't think they're really celebrating this year. They're keeping it like even lower key than normal. They're not like big holiday bitches. So, so that's it really. How about you?
Same. We are going to cook Italian food for Christmas Eve, which we always do. That's like my family's tradition.
Yeah.
And also it was Mark's family's tradition as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's so funny because so many people who are not Italian, I think, have Italian food, and then Italian people have fish.
Right. Well, it's the seven fishes. It's the feast of the seven fishes.
Yes.
Well, Mark's aunt's mother-in-law, Mark's aunt has been married to this man, Fred, forever, long time. And Fred is like fully Italian, and his mother, like who's passed now, was like from Italy. Italian.
Yes.
And so they spent every Christmas Eve with Fred's family, and Fred's mother would cook all the Italian food.
Yeah. There's a part of my family that is very Italian. Everyone's named Mario. And so we spent many Christmas Eves with them just eating endless fishes, which I won't even eat one fish, never mind 7. So
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
But that's not for me.
There were also times when like the matriarch of the mini Marios family would be like, fuck it, I'm like taking the year off. And she would like leave it to the daughters. And then they would just get like different fried fishes from like the local dairy bar snack stand. And so
that's delicious.
Those were my favorite years because I'd just like eat French fries all night.
I do love fish and chips.
Yeah. Yes, I do love fish and chips.
You know what Mark's brother is getting us for Christmas? I know what it is already.
What?
Well, first of all, in one of the stranger moves, and I'm sorry if my brother or sister-in-law is listening to this, they had gotten us like a panini press, but then their dog like ate the box. So rather than, truly, this is the story. So then we get this box delivered to the house and Mark from his brother, and Mark opens it and it's like a panini press that's like been destroyed.
Oh no.
Like from shipping. Like there's like it was so weird. I was just like, who would just put a panini press in a brown paper box? Wait, what are these called? What am I packing? What are they called? Boxes. What are they called?
Boxes?
Shipping box. Like a shipping box.
Yeah.
Shut up, Caissie. I'm having you know what I mean? Okay. So I was like, who just fucking like wraps it in tissue paper and puts it in a fucking shipping box and sends it to New York? And so it was like total. It was like junk. Like you can't even donate it. It literally was destroyed by being thrown around all the shipping facilities. I'm sure.
Oh my God.
So then his brother felt bad, and Mark was like, and actually, we have a panini press. My mom got it for us like last year or the year before.
Yeah.
When it was on Oprah's favorite things list.
Of course.
And by the way, of all the things like going to storage, coming to New York, blah, 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 in which I was like scolded for the things that I wanted out. I wanted too much out here. And I was told no. And it has to go to storage. And I'm like, fine, but I really want my fucking stuff. I wanted my telephone that you gave me, my Oprah phone.
Yes.
I wanted my shit, dude. Anyway, too much stuff. It's going to storage, fine. But then turns out the panini press is coming because Mark and Sarah Beth love the panini press. And I'm just like, you know what? And Birdie loves the panini press. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So he's sending us an air fryer.
Oh, it's the best.
I'm so excited.
Our
can't
friend, our friend Nelson, who was a co-executive producer on Busy Tonight and has been a longtime friend of mine and is just one of the best people in the world.
He's like literally one of my top 10 favorite men.
Yeah. He's like what I always say. There's like 2 to 3 good guys in the world, and he's one of them. He got us an air fryer, not even for like anything. He had just gotten one, and he loved it so much that he got us one.
Because that's the kind of guy Nelson is, guys.
Yeah, and so he sent us an air fryer. And here's the funny thing: my son Lincoln, he loves toast, and we never had a toaster here in LA because we left everything back in Connecticut. And so last Christmas, we went all around trying to look for a toaster, and for whatever reason, there were no toasters available in Los Angeles last Christmas.
Popular gift.
Yeah, it was insane, and so we had to buy like $150 toaster for this kid. But we were like, he's worth it. He loves toast. He's a good boy. He deserves toast. So we got him a toaster.
Good boy. He deserves toast.
So we got him a toaster, and then we had that on the counter. And then Nelson got us this air fryer. And at some point, Lincoln made toast in the air fryer. And then Lincoln came to us, and he was so serious. And he was like, I want to talk to you about something. Do you mind if we just keep the air fryer out instead of the toaster? I know you worked so hard to get it for me.
Aww.
It was very cute. But yeah, you can do anything in that air fryer. It's great.
All right. Well, I'm very excited about it. I also have purchased a couple gifts for myself. I am not the fucking mom from the SNL I got a robe sketch.
That made me laugh.
Me too. It made me laugh, but I learned well from my own mother in that if you're the mom, guess what? You buy yourself the books, you buy yourself the shit you want, and Santa brings it to you, and it's under the goddamn tree.
Yeah.
And sorry, guys, that's just the way it is, because you cannot trust anyone to make your Christmas dreams come true as a mother.
Except yourself.
Except yourself. I bought gifts for my kids to give me. Also, can I tell you, I think it's nice for the girls to exchange presents. And so I asked them what they wanted to get one another. And they kind of were both like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. They just didn't have any ideas. So I had to help, right? So I'm like, okay, Cricket. Sometimes in past years, they've had ideas. Truly.
Yeah, sure.
Like, like Birdie one year was like, I got to get Cricket the Paw Patrol station. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's great. This year, both of them were like at a loss. And Cricket was like, I don't know, something One Direction. And I was like, good call.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I said to Birdie, what do you want to get Cricket? And she's like, I don't know, Mom. I don't know. Birdie wanted to do a new art project and needed more paint.
Yeah.
Anyway, I took Birdie to Blick Art Store.
Okay.
And they had these pens there called Posca pens. Do you know what they are?
I don't know what they
are. They're like paint pens.
Oh, cool.
But one of Cricket's favorite YouTubers uses them. And I've heard her Cricket say Posca pens so many times.
Yes.
So, and we had looked for them before somewhere else and they didn't have them. And I bought her some other off-brand pen, and she was like, this is fine, but it's not the thing.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, they've got Posca pens. I'm going to get these for Cricket for Christmas. And so I loaded up all the Posca pens and the paper so that it doesn't bleed through or whatever. And then we were checking out and Birdie had grabbed something sort of absentmindedly, like this unicorn thing for Cricket for Christmas. And then as we were checking out, I was like, I think I should give Cricket the Posca pens and the paper, Mom. And I was like, I had to swallow real hard. And I was like, yeah, you can do that. Sure. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So then yesterday they decided to do their gift exchange. I'm telling you, the wheels are off.
Yeah,
they've opened your gifts. You nailed it. Cricket, I didn't send you the picture. I'm going to send you maybe I'll post it. Cricket hugged that detangling brush and made her cute, I'm pleased face.
Oh my gosh. I got Cricket an electronic detangling comb that so many it's meant for kids, but so many adult women I know that have long curly hair say it's fantastic.
Well, I'm going to try it out. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I'm going to try it.
Let me know how it works.
we're down to once a week she lets me detangle her hair. It's a fucking nightmare. Anyway, so they exchanged gifts yesterday, and I had ordered for Birdie. I was super excited because I had ordered all of these prayer candles. You know those fake prayer candles?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have
so I
some.
got Harry Styles, Louis Tomlinson, Timothy Chalamet, and Florence Pugh. I got those. Like, and so I was like, well, Cricket can just give those to Birdie,
Sure.
So they exchanged presents. And when I tell you Cricket was like last night quietly, she just hasn't stopped using them for like over 24 hours. She's written 2 books.
Love.
She's written 2 books with her Posca pens. And last night she quietly said, "This is the best gift I've ever gotten in my life." And I was like, it's from me. No, I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
You were just thinking it.
I know, but she was like but maybe also part of it is that she was like so touched that it was from Bird.
Yeah.
That
was, you gave a lot of gifts because you gave Bird the gift of giving that gift to Cricket.
Gift.
You gave Cricket the gift of getting something really special from Birdie.
From her from her older sibling.
Yeah. So,
I know, but it's hard for me because I want all the credit,
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You will never get the credit from your children, but everyone listening to this knows it was all you.
But of course it was all me. Also, like, get over it, Busy. Why do you need the fucking credit? Of course it's all you. You gave birth to them. You, like, did it all. We do it all. The moms do it all.
I get why you want credit because it's when you feel like you nailed it and you really, like, got something that's special to someone. When I worked for Dave Letterman, a huge part of my job was thinking of special gifts for people. Like, and he was really into gifts. Like, that was his... that's the way that he showed that he cared about
love
someone.
language.
It was his love language. And so there were many...
I think it's mine.
Yeah. And I think it was like there were so many opportunities to brainstorm with him and be really creative about gifts. And so it felt really good to give someone, and it wasn't always an expensive gift. Sometimes it was like very lavish because he's wealthy, but sometimes it was just like something really thoughtful that you had to track down, a movie that was out of print or something that he'd heard you mention in passing, or like something that was really funny, like an in-joke between like one I don't want to say for who, but like one time I had to ask someone's wife, what did we think her husband, a staffer, would like for like a big important birthday? And she was like, oh, maybe like a spa weekend, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, that's so boring. So this staffer wore a certain type of sneaker. And so I convinced Dave to like fill up his entire office with like a lifetime supply of those sneakers.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I
and
love
it was
that.
so fun for me, but then I was like, that wife probably hates me. But it was fun to like convince Dave, like, let's stack up all these boxes of sneakers.
You're really good at gifts too, though. You're a
thank
really
you.
good gift giver.
Thank you. That's
Both
really
of your
nice.
gifts to my kids were huge hits.
Well, I gave Bird sealing wax and stationery.
Yeah, and Birdie wrote a thank you letter to you, and
That's
it's sitting
so
here.
nice.
I know, which was, I only asked like 7 times, but but to Birdie's credit, here it is.
There it is.
So I just
Yes.
have to address it. What's your address? Why don't you just say it on the podcast? Because it
You know how
feels
I
as
like to
though
just tell people.
you like to tell people exactly where you live, Caissie. Guys, there was an episode of our pod in which Caissie describes exactly where she lives, and I was like, I was listening to it. I think I don't know, late, like when it came out on my way to work or whatever, and I was like, "Huh, you didn't cut out the part where you talk about where you live." And she's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I figure like if anyone is gonna come get me, they can just come get me. I don't know. You were
Well,
just
I
like
figure, like,
nonplussed by it.
I figure it's pretty public where I live. And also, like, I've never really had that experience of someone trying to come and find me to do anything scary because I'm not like known like that. But I have had, I have had people kind of, I guess, show up where I live before for various things, but nothing ever scary. So if anyone wanted to be scary, all they would have to do is put in a teeny bit of effort beyond me describing where I live. But anyway,
That's true.
yeah.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about the Elle article.
That was wild.
Bonkers. Guys,
Yeah,
did you read it? Of course you did. Everybody read it.
Everybody read it.
Martin
if you didn't read it,
Shkreli. How do you say his name? Shkreli?
Martin
Shkreli.
Shkreli? The guy that like
Wow.
the pharma
bro.
that like increased the cost of some medication by 5,000% and is like currently in prison for
7 years.
For what is it? For fraud? What did he do? This woman journalist that was covering his legal battle kind of fell in love with him. My mind can't even be wrapped around the situation that she fell in love with this notoriously loathsome person and sort of blew up her life. She lost her job. She gave up her job. She divorced her husband. And then like in the end, like spoiler alert, Martin Shkreli, he like blew her off via the journalist doing the story. He was like, I wish her the best in her endeavors.
I mean, it is a wild article. And there was an update. There was a 24 hours later. Did you read that part?
That she's
With
ready
the
to
report-
start dating.
I didn't see that. I read on Elle, they had like a follow-up with the journalist who wrote the article and then her, Christy Smith is her name, or Smythe.
Smythe.
It's probably Smith, right?
Probably.
Smythe
Is
I don't
very
know.
pretentious, so hopefully she's
I don't know.
going
She
with Smith.
fell in love with Pharma Bro, you know?
It's true. It's true.
I would just say like it's fascinating because that, and then you sent me that Twitter thread of your friend that's talking about like extreme crushes that people get and like what extreme crushes do to people and how it makes them like behave irrationally or against their own, best interests.
Yeah,
and
it's almost like drugs.
It's like drugs. And oftentimes it's like not even about the person that it's with. It's like more about getting out of whatever you're in.
Yeah. And even I think she was making the point, or somebody was making the point, that sometimes maybe even the mate that you choose knowing that they're the kind of person that would be susceptible to something like this, so that you're almost self-selecting someone that at some point will probably leave you because you're not into like staying in this situation forever. It's really interesting. But yeah, I mean, here's the way, a lot of people were dunking on this woman, which I get because
I know, and
Martin
like calling her
Shkreli-
like mentally ill and things.
Yeah. I mean, which nobody should be diagnosing mental illness in anyone who's not that person's doctor. But many people were like, this is how could this happen? And I'm like, we've all had bad judgment in that area. This just happens to be very public and happens to have like ruined her life. But like, how many of us have come close to ruining our lives? Probably.
Well, and he is clearly a sociopath.
Yes. I think.
Or a psychopath. I can't remember. I read that book a long time ago.
Yeah. He's
The Psychopath Test. Guys, if you haven't read it, highly recommend John Ronson's book, The Psychopath Test.
Yeah,
you will
because
then diagnose everyone as a sociopath or a psychopath.
and like a lot of super successful people kind of like ride that line of
True.
being nearly psychopathic. But I know that like I've in my life made a ton of terrible decisions. Everyone I love has made a ton of terrible decisions, but I feel like she's probably super not alone in having poor judgment in that situation.
Yeah, and also, I always find it difficult to judge anyone who's making a choice that they feel like, even in this extreme situation, something that she like felt really deeply. And it's not for me to like unpack all of the reasons why and the whatever that maybe she'll get into at some point in her life later.
Yeah.
But as a story, it's fairly captivating. It's really
fascinating.
It's
Well,
fascinating.
she said in this story, she said this line that really has stuck with me. She said that
that
you
it
know,
smelled like chicken wings when they kissed.
that also stuck with me, that it smelled like chicken wings in the prison when she visited him, and
when they kissed for the first time.
Yeah, that it smelled of chicken wings. The line that stuck with me is that before he went to jail, he was like socializing with people that were kind of like young people that were kind of like fans of his, and she was going along in, you know, supposedly I guess in the interest of like doing her journalism, but then she found herself being like at his side, and she said, I felt like a politician's wife. I know, the same thing stuck out for me too. Like it's like that feeling of like being important and being like in proximity, and this is a person who's like spent their entire journalistic career covering other, like, you know, people in the public eye,
you know, people on trial of note,
notorious, infamous people.
Yes. And then all of a sudden here she was, and she was like in proximity to it, and she was like, huh, this feels kind of good.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. It's wild. I've been watching The Flight Attendant. Have you seen?
No, but you're the second person today that's asked me.
I've been watching it. I thought it was a really fun show, but there's like a storyline in there where my husband and I were talking about it, where we're like, why would that character do that thing? But it's kind of like fits so well. If you've been watching, it really fits the Martin Shkreli romance story, that sometimes you just do a thing to like check that you're alive or to make yourself feel seen, you know? And like if you feel unseen enough, your decision to do something to feel seen might just be very extreme.
Like, for instance, me starting to do Instagram stories.
Yes. It's true.
4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, everyone thought I was fucking insane. Just FYI.
Yeah.
Like, people legit were like, hey, so why are you doing that? Like, it's like, what are you doing? Are you okay? It's like you're on the Real World. Like you're being interviewed? Question mark.
And it turned out good. It turned out well for you. But I guess people are going wild for this story. People are here to see it. It's just a matter of how it's received in the end. So yeah, it's not so different.
I mean, I hope it works out for everyone.
I hope so too. She said that she was ready to start dating, I believe. And if you read that Elle profile, you saw that she had like some very nice photographs taken to make it like a fashion shoot a little bit.
I thought it was very strange. That part was very strange.
It was very strange, but I guess that's what Elle has to do to make it, you know, their brand for their magazine. But she took a lot of nice pictures in dresses from The Vampire's Wife, a very hip brand.
I have some Vampire's Wife dresses.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, it's what I wore on our Christmas show when Oprah called me.
Yes, that's right. So now this woman has like really nice photos for her profile on Match.com.
Is she working with Match.com now?
I don't know, but I'm assuming she'll join like Kettle of Fish, or is that what it's called? Plenty of Fish.
Fucking no idea. Caissie, why are you asking me? I'm
We're
like
not,
an old lady.
We're not on
no
the single sites.
Not on the social media sites. I just know the one for famous people.
Oh,
You
yes,
know, where everyone gets matched with Matthew Perry. I thought I had something else to tell you, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, we're just going to open presents, eat Italian food. That's what we were talking about before we went on this
before we got
journey,
on a tangent.
This journey. And that's it, man. I don't know. Oh, we ordered brisket from Lewis Barbecue in Charleston to be delivered.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to eat that on Christmas. And you can get anything delivered these days, guys. That is one thing that's kind of nice.
It's true. We usually have like a rib roast, but they're kind of hard to get around LA. So I don't know if we're going to do that. Lincoln wants ham. I'm not into ham, but also who cares?
Who cares?
So what? Who cares?
So what? Who cares? Yeah, I know what presents I'm getting for myself, and I'm very pleased with them. And I don't know. You haven't gotten your present box from me yet. Although you guys did get, you you did get the picture.
Oh my God, Busy got us the funniest thing. She did get us masks with Ben Affleck wearing a mask.
Did you not get a
them.
T-shirt too?
Yes, I did get a T-shirt too. But the mask is like, it's so meta that the mask
is hilarious.
Is the star. But the whole
Oh my God, wait. Okay, I have to tell you a story about getting because I gave Eric Gurian one of those Ben Affleck masks as well. Although you know him, he's probably too nervous to ever wear it. But you know, I put together the crew gift for the girls 5eva to give the crew before Christmas, and it was a little bit of a rush job. And Ray was helping me remotely. I was like doing the design with Molly Kloss, my friend Molly.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, and then also like make sure you order extras of every size in case you know we need them, and then order a few kid sizes because there are a couple kids that are actors on the show. And then I said, and also get Eric a onesie. And Ray's like, got it. And I said that because his
Eric's girlfriend, Eric's partner is
expecting their first child.
Yes, Victoria.
Victoria's going to have a baby in just a little bit. So then I get this text from Ray. All this shit is like, it's down to the wire and it's coming. It's going to be there Friday, but like down to the wire. I get this text from Ray. I'm at work on Thursday. And he's like, I kind of messed up something with the gifts, but I think it's okay. And I was like, what did you mess up? And he's like, I ordered Eric like an adult onesie. Not a baby onesie. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That is the funniest thing I've ever heard. And it's perfect.
It's so much better.
Do not stop that onesie from coming. Anyway, then Friday was such a clusterfuck. I didn't see where the onesie went, so I don't even know if Eric got it. And I forgot to ask him, and I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
Well, hopefully, I'm sure he'll send us all a photo of him in an adult onesie, and maybe he'll let us share it with everyone.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe.
Well, everybody, the next time we talk to you, Christmas will have already come and gone.
Are we doing like a New Year's 2020 recap episode?
Yeah, we'll be back next week, and we'll just be talking about 2020 and our hopes for 2021.
You know what I would love? Just to get like month by month. Like, let's just go through it.
Yeah. All right.
I'm kidding.
Just for 12 hours, 1 hour per month.
Fuck me. Do you remember a year ago when you and I were like about to fucking have this business and do this whole thing, and we were making it happen, and it was like happening?
Yeah, I do remember. I mean, I kind of do. It feels like it was 10 years ago, and it also feels like it was a second ago, and it also feels like maybe it's still happening, and it also feels like it never will. But I think that's how everybody feels.
It's been such a strange time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's been strange. I think it will continue to be different.
Yeah. I do too.
And, you know, and I think so much of like, you know, so every once in a while I give myself 5 minutes of be like, oh, this year, like so much didn't happen. But then I'm like, some people lost everything.
I know. And I feel that way too. Like, I always like, I'm always nervous that it like sounds like I'm like complaining when I was like talking about how tired I was and how last week was really hard. It was just like a lot, you know, like it was emotionally a lot. And then on top of it, I was like stretched very thin because of all the work. And then it just compounded the emotional stuff that I was going through.
Yeah. I mean, well, 2 things can be true at one time. 100 things can be true at one time. So many people are like, oh, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining or whatever. It's not, nobody's complaining. Everybody's just living what they're going through and like saying what they're going through and just, it's not a contest. And so it's very valid to be like, I'm just exhausted or I'm just sad. I'm exhausted and sad, or like, oh gosh, like I'm feeling pretty good. You know, it's like, I feel like sometimes people are so hesitant to share their successes because they're so conscious of what's happening for other people that haven't had a win in a really long time. But like, even when I'm having like the shittiest time, I still want to hear about my friends' wins because like that's a win for me, you know? And like, even when it's hard, I'm still happy. You know what I mean? It's all very, very complicated. It's all complicated.
It's super complicated. And it's also like, guys, at the end of the day, we are. Oh no, is she going to do it? She's going to do it. We're just doing our best.
We're just doing our best.
Listen, guys.
Let's make a date to get together again next week at this same time. We'll talk about 2020. Maybe we'll drink
let's have a cocktail. Let's have a cocktail next week.
Beverages.
We can have it from one of our cocktail sponsors.
All right.
Or we can have it from someone else and not talk about it.
That sounds
Oh,
perfect.
by the way, I was going to say, is Warner's Bras still sponsoring us? Because we should send a grip of Warner's Bras to Shantira.
I know we should. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question.
I probably still have their contact info though, because I did do that commercial for them. I'll get into it. I'll send her some bras.
Yeah.
And anyone else out there that wants to send Shantira a new trousseau. That's what my mother would always say. Now, Busy, what about your wedding trousseau? I'm like, what are you fucking talking about, Mom? It's not like fucking Victorian times. I'm not like getting traded for my fucking trousseau. What? What is a trousseau? My wedding chest filled with the things that I'm going to like take with me into the marriage.
Your hope chest and your dowry.
Isn't that what it was? Your wedding chest was like filled with the things you would take into the marriage, like the silver and the china, and like that's like where it all comes from. And apparently, your fucking underwear, your trousseau. Well, on that note, you guys, I hope you get everything that you wish for Christmas. And remember, if you're concerned that you might not, it's not too late to order it for yourself.
And also, if you're not feeling Christmas this year, that's okay too. It's a weird year. If you're not feeling Christmas any year, that's okay too. If you're feeling a little lonely and you are wishing that you had someone to talk to on Christmas, reach out and say hi. We'll be around. We'll say hi.
Yeah. And, if you want to let your kids open a gift every fucking day for the past week,
that's okay too.
Do it.
That's okay
Fine.
too.
It doesn't. Also, by the way, guess what? I've been doing those fucking elves every goddamn day. But you know what? I didn't feel like posting about it. And so I didn't. So you know what? I'm sorry. So what? Who cares?
So what?
But they've been up to a lot of stuff. But so what? Who cares? I'm not posting it. I don't give a fuck. I'm not taking pictures. I'm just not doing it. I was too tired.
There you go. And for everybody who is like staying home to stay safe this year, even though it means that you're going to have like kind of a weird holiday, thank you.
Oh, for sure. I'm staying home. I'm not doing shit. And I'm sad about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's weird. But also, it's just like 1 year and then...
But also, what is anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It'll be...
All right.
It'll be fine. We love you.
We love you. Caissie, I love you.
I love you too. And I miss you. And I'm glad to see your face.
I know, me too. Okay, bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, no.